Oh, wait a minute. The one that has Tim Source.
Pretty good. I didn't even check. Okay, I'm in the right spot. I just assumed all the way to the side. Like a picture or something, a cardboard cutout. Done something like that.
We need to figure out. Or something. We got to figure out something.
Yeah, no, he came up to me at the.
We're in the same. We're in the same.
My name. I couldn't believe it. No.
That's right. Yeah.
I really enjoyed talking to him.
Can't wear this during the meeting, can I?
No, you probably shouldn't turn it this way. You should keep it like that.
Yeah.
I want to show favorites, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a nice hat.
like to I would like to call the May meeting. Am I on? Call the May meeting, Augusta County School Board to order. And first order of business is pledge to the flag, so if you would join me. I'd like to welcome all of you here tonight. This is a new venue for us. It's a very nice venue. Appreciate all of you being here. We've got a full house. There must be something exciting going on. But our first on the agenda is some special recognition. And Ms. Carol Cash, nurse recognition. Come forward, please, ma'am.
I will ask that my nurses come up here with me. So I want to thank you this evening for letting me take this opportunity to recognize our nurses and the wonderful work they do each day. I would like to mention a few highlights of our school year that some may not be aware. We do have 14 RNs on staff, 9 LPNs, and 3 clinic aides. We have 3 nationally certified nurses. One of our nurses serves on the Virginia Association of School Nurse Board, and that's Krista Leitner. Total student visits in the clinic through April were 128,217. 7% of those went home, and 93% of those were returned to class. So that just sort of justifies why we need nurses in the school. We also saw 185 staff visits, whether it was checking blood pressures or dealing with minor injuries and that sort of thing. Through April, we gave out 55,038 medications. We completed mandatory hearing and vision screenings for our pre-K, kindergarten, 3rd, 7th, and 10th graders. We taught 294 staff and community members in CPR, and that's in addition to all of our 9th graders. We are proud that we now have 5 Project Adams schools. This year, the 3 Fort Defiance schools completed their certification, and that's in addition to Wilson Elementary and Sturz Draft Elementary. We do have several other schools who are working on becoming certified as a Project Adams school. We work in collaboration with JMU, EMU, Blue Ridge Community College, and Valley Career Technical Center, and we had 337 nursing school students come through our clinics. And they learned valuable skills and had positive experiences with the mentors that did that. We work in collaboration with a lot of other organizations that you may not be aware of. We partner with the Lions Club to help with vision screenings. America's Best helps supply those students who may need assistance with getting glasses. The Regional Dental Clinic comes into our schools, and this year they saw 819 students through the dental clinics at school. We work with the Stanton Augusta Health Department, Walgreens Pharmacy to provide flu shots for our staff, and local physicians' offices. Yesterday, we celebrated School Nurse Day, and tonight we recognize their dedication and compassion in caring for the students and staff of our school division. Thank you.
Before you get started, Ms. Cash, What was the number again on the number of visits?
Total visits, this is through April, was 128,217 visits.
Wow. I didn't hear wrong. I couldn't believe, that is a lot of kids. And thank you all. As a parent and a grandparent, I've had sons and grandsons that have visited some of you all over the years, and you're much appreciated. So thank you very much. Let's give our nurses another round. Next, Ms. Shannon Brake, support staff recognition.
Good evening. It is an honor to celebrate this year's Augusta County Public Schools Support Staff of the Year recipients. Our support staff are the backbone of our division. They are the quiet engines of excellence that ensure that our schools are safe, welcoming, and efficient environments for learning. The individuals that we celebrate this evening represent a diverse range of roles, from instructional assistants and custodians to administrative professionals, bus drivers, and school resource officers. Despite their different titles, they share a common thread of dedication to their school community. To all of the recipients, your hard work does not go unnoticed. Thank you for your tireless support and commitment to this school division. Each school's principal or designee will introduce these outstanding professionals and share a little bit more about them and their exemplary service. And we will begin with Buffalo Gap High School.
First, I'd like to thank Ms. Brake, Dr. Troxel, and our school board for providing this opportunity to recognize our support staff. Buffalo Gap High School would not function without our front office staff, Ms. Ruhlman and Ms. Downs. This is Megan Downs, and she is our support person of the year, especially the last 7 months that I've been there. So Megan truly has been a blessing to me, and our faculty overwhelmingly selected Megan Downs, who gave up her children's baseball tonight to be here as our support person of the year. Congratulations, well deserved.
Buffalo Gap Middle School.
Good evening, Board. I am so incredibly honored to present Ms. Brandy Knight as our support staff person of the year. Brandy is our bookkeeper. She's got a keen financial mind and is an attention to detail, but Brandy is so much more. Brandy is a force of nature, let me tell you. Brandy is an ambassador of love, of joy, of kindness, and just unending energy. I am honored to lead our school with Mrs. Knight. She brings so much fun and life into the school. She knows everybody in the community. She knows every kid in the school. She knows what they need, and she's not afraid to tell her principal when somebody needs it. To say that I could not do this job without her is the biggest understatement in the world. I am honored to serve Augusta County. I'm honored to serve Buffalo Gap. And indeed, this force of nature beside me. I think she's done every job in the school. Have you mowed the yard before? Mowed the lawn? I found one. It would take me too long to list everything she does because it is infinite. And I'm honored to present Mrs. Brandy Knight as our support staff of the year.
Castle Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. I am Taylor Mizzy. I am the principal at Castle Elementary School. It is my honor to recognize Mrs. Dana McCray as our Support Staff Member of the Year. Mrs. McCray is truly the heart of our school community. Every day, she goes above and beyond to make sure students feel loved, supported, and cared for. Her kindness, patience, and compassion are evident in every interaction she has with children, staff, and our families. Students know that they have her full attention and support, and her calm, caring presence helps them feel safe and successful each day. Mrs. McCray is also the definition of a team player, whether it is volunteering to help wherever is needed, supporting with extra duties, or staying late to assist with buses. She does it all with a smile on her face and positivity in her heart. She is dependable, adaptable, and always willing to go the extra mile without ever seeking recognition. Her cheerful spirit, incredible work ethic, and genuine care for others have made such a lasting impact on our entire school community. We are so fortunate to have Mrs. Dana McCray as our Support Staff Member of the Year. Thank you.
Churchville Elementary.
Good evening. I'm Carrie Barr, principal at Churchville, and I have the pleasure of introducing Carol Ratliff. She is our bookkeeper slash secretary slash front office extraordinaire. And at school, she is known as Miss Carol. My first year at Churchville, Carol and I stood just like this because this is not her first time winning this award, which I think speaks volumes to the person that she is. When you are working in the front office, you always want that person to be super happy and excited and smiling, and that is Carol all the time. She is always happy, and she knows our community so well. There is no parent that she doesn't know. She knows everybody, and she truly is my right-hand person all the time. At one point in time, we even had a parent that argued that she was Mrs. Barb. So that shows just how closely a bookkeeper and a principal work together. I would like to share a few things that staff said about her, and there truly is a theme in the first three things I want to share. So the first one is, she is the glue that holds our school together. She is the hub of the school, and Miss Carol is the backbone to our school. And I think that that is all incredibly true. And then my most favorite, and I need to go back to see which staff member wrote this, said, "I want to be just like Miss Carol when I grow up." So congratulations, Miss Carol.
Clymore Elementary.
Good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations to all of the support staff winners here today. It is my honor, well, I'm Katie, sorry. I'm Katie Saunders. I'm the principal at Clymore Elementary. And it is my honor to introduce to you Lindsay Davis, who is our support staff member of the year. Lindsay is a special education instructional aide, and she truly embodies what it means to be a dynamic educator. I had to take some notes because so many of our staff members said such wonderful things about her. Some of the comments that people made said that she consistently goes above and beyond in every aspect of her work. That's very true. She always puts students first. She makes sure that they're challenged and supported, and she has an incredible ability to balance humor, relationships, and high expectations. She works very closely with our students with disabilities and those with behavioral challenges. She helps them rise to meet her expectations, but she also sees beyond behaviors and beyond disabilities to see the whole child. She works tirelessly to help students make positive choices, to grow in confidence and in independence. Her patience, compassion, and deep understanding of students' needs make her inspiring to our whole school community. Lindsay is someone that her coworkers can count on all the time. They regularly go to her for all of the things. She steps in to help however needed, whether that is a rainy day car duty or helping someone with lunch or even finding flavor packets for people who don't like water. Her professionalism and strong work ethic make those around her better. Even on the busiest days, she has the ability to bring joy, a smile, and a positive attitude. Whether she's helping a student through a difficult moment, supporting a teacher, or simply making others smile, Lindsay makes a lasting impact every single day. She's patient, dependable, compassionate, and truly one of the best. We are so fortunate to have Lindsay as part of the Clymore family, and it is an honor to be able to recognize her this evening.
Craigsville Elementary.
Good evening. I'm Sarah King, and I'm the principal at Craigsville Elementary. And this evening, we have the opportunity to recognize someone who truly makes a difference in our school and in our community. This is Miss Jessica Miller. She is one of our special education instructional assistants. She's an incredible asset to our team. She leads with kindness in everything she does, and she's always willing to step in and help wherever she's needed, often before anyone even has to ask. And just today, for example, we have a double run tomorrow. That's a big deal for us. And I needed someone to stay after tomorrow, and she runs in this afternoon, and she goes, Miss King, I'll come early in the morning and get them off the bus, and I'll stay after and watch them till they leave. Of course you will. Yeah. Anyhow, what stands out the most about Miss Miller is her heart. She genuinely wants the best for everyone around her, and she takes great pride in her work. She holds herself to a high standard because she cares deeply about not letting other people down, and that speaks volumes about who she is. Miss Miller pours herself into supporting both our students and our staff, not just professionally, but personally as well. She takes the time to build meaningful connections, and that impact is felt every single day. She wants to see staff and students alike be successful. She's not only a valued staff member, but a trusted friend to many of our staff. We are truly fortunate to have her as part of our team at Craigsville Elementary School. Congratulations.
Fort Defiance High School.
Good evening. I'm Mark Macy, Assistant Principal at Fort Defiance. First, I have the honor to fill in for Mr. Scholl. Tonight, Mr. Scholl is being honored with his retirement from Fort Defiance High School by being the special conductor in our spring performance. So that is where he is at tonight. And I have the privilege to introduce to you Miss Darby Deming. She is our front office staff, and she is amazing. She starts her day very early. She starts by driving the vehicle for some of our special needs children to making sure that they're getting the special transportation they need to and from school so that they can have a successful day. Her day then goes from there to We are very blessed at Fort Defiance High School to watch our teachers, students, their children go across the way to Clymore and Stewart. And Ms. Deming is a key part in making sure that the children are getting on the bus. And you can see her every morning, bright and early, helping their teachers, having their children transported across. She's our front office. She's the face of our school, and she always leads with compassion. She always leads with positive influence on our entire school. So I'm very proud to say, again, Ms. Darby Deming, you're amazing.
North River Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say thank you again to Mrs. Brake and to the board. Someone put a quote on my desk about a month ago, and it said, "Never admire quietly. If you admire something about someone, appreciate them." And that's what this amazing evening is all about. And I get to be here with the one and only Miss Eldry Wheeler. Mrs. Wheeler is also one of our special education instructional assistants, and she is steadfast, you are dedicated, and you are kind, and you daily live out our vision and our mission statement at North River Elementary School. And she does so by helping our students solve problems. She strives to help them reach their full potential, both instructionally and behaviorally. She models what it means to be a responsible citizen. Mrs. Wheeler's roots run deep in the Mount Solon community, and I would wager to say that you know just about everybody in the circumference around Bobcat Country. She is a caregiver like none other, and she can often be heard in the building saying, "Yes, I can do that." She works with multiple students and transitions seamlessly between them. She understands what our students need, and she understands what teachers need to the point that she can help them without even being asked. She works hard for her students, and as her colleagues who nominated her for this award would say, she deserves the recognition. Now, some first grade voices in the cafeteria today were eager to tell her congratulations. And if they were here, this is what they might say, and they asked me to say this on behalf of our school and to you. So they would say, "Thank you for your help. Thank you for the ways you support me. Thank you for being the best helper to one of our special classmates. You are so beautiful. You take your job seriously. Thank you for helping me open my cheese sticks. Thank you for telling me which words are correct and not correct, because I really want to be a better speller." Other adjectives they shared: Mrs. Wheeler is lovely, the best, kind, cute, and great. And one special little friend said it best in his cheerful sing-song voice: "She makes me happier." Thank you for making us all happier, Mrs. Wheeler. Congratulations.
Riverheads Elementary.
Good evening. I'm the proud principal of Riverheads Elementary School, and my name is John Matherly, and I have the privilege of introducing Miss Lisa Arball. She is a special education assistant at Riverheads Elementary, and she is our support staff member of the year. I only have Lisa here tonight because I promised her a few things. First, I promised her that she didn't have to talk, and that was important to her. Second, I promised I wouldn't talk too long, which I know you all will also appreciate. I said I could do everything I needed to share if she would just let me show you the video of when we gave her her prize, because the shock and surprise on her face was precious, and the applause and the joy on the children's face who were there was just incredible. And that just goes to show, and so we'll keep this real simple. What you need to know about Miss Arball is that she loves all of our gladiators, and it shows in everything that she does. Whether you're supporting a student in reading, supporting them in math, helping them out in PE, you're always there when they need the most help. And we are grateful for that. Our staff is grateful for that. And we are proud to have you as a gladiator at Riverheads Elementary. Thank you, Ms. Arball.
Riverheads High School.
Good evening. My name is Matt Stevens. I'm the principal at Riverheads High School. I'd first like to thank Dr. Troxel, Mrs. Brake, and the board for this opportunity to rec our support staff. In addition, I would also like to congratulate all the support staff winners in here this evening. Our faculty and staff, with the support of our administration, has selected Ms. Carrie Argenbright as our support staff winner this year. Ms. Argenbright is a front office secretary, and unfortunately she cannot be here tonight due to another commitment, as she is supporting her son at Allegheny at a tennis match. But nonetheless, Ms. Argenbright, along with her other front office secretary, do a great job of working to provide a welcoming environment for our patrons, students, and staff. Ms. Argenbright can be counted on to complete tasks. She is very helpful, very friendly, and she's very supportive of anyone who needs help at our school. Ms. Argenbright is a tireless and hard worker, and we are very thankful to have her working at our school with our students, staff, and community. So on behalf of Riverheads High School and our faculty and staff, we'd like to congratulate Ms. Argenbright. And I will be willing to accept on her behalf for not being here tonight, but make sure she gets the award tomorrow. Thank you.
Riverheads Middle School.
Good evening. I'm Adam Mulcahy. I'm the principal at Riverheads Middle School, and it is my absolute honor and privilege and to present our winner, Miss Daphne Almerode. Daphne is our front office bookkeeper, secretary, admin support, calm presence, and everything you can possibly imagine. So many principals tonight have talked about the really important relationship with their principal and the bookkeepers. They make sure that we do what we're supposed to. They keep us out of trouble. She tells me, you got to sign this. You got to take this back. You got to check this. But she does so much more. When we do our bus driver appreciations, she prints the cards. Our staff for the winter or for Christmas, and I'd say, Daphne, can you get this for me? She's like, yep, and then just goes and done it. I say, can you look up and check this out for me? Or can you find something? I'm thinking about this. And she'll, every single time without fail, she says, absolutely, let me check into it. And then here's some options that I found. And so those are the types of things that she helps me with every single day, with a million little things that then I don't have to worry about. That then she can come back and when our office gets busy and when there are a lot of children that need help and they come to see her, and she's also affectionately known as Winston's mom. So Miss Almerode has a therapy dog she brings to school twice a week, and the elementary school students in the morning, all of our faculty students, our kids, Miss Almerode and Winston read with our EL class, with our exceptional learners, and they make their rounds around the school, and the kids will come visit and see Miss Daphne and Winston. Daphne does so many things for our school. This week she organized almost our entire teacher appreciation. She orchestrated and reached out to all the local churches and businesses and did the food and the breakfast and the gifts and put together and even personally put together the little bags for our teachers. She works with our office and calms people down when it gets crazy, and when the phones are all ringing off the hook and the buzzers at the front door, Daphne just says, we got this. And she goes out and helps our other office staff, and she is truly amazing. I've never seen her without a smile, and that calming presence helps create the climate of support and a wonderful community that we have at our school. She is the epitome of sports staff of the year, and we are so blessed to have her in our building. Miss Daphne Almerode.
Shenandoah Valley Center for Advanced Learning.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Leanne Whitesell. I'm a director of Center for Advanced Learning, which includes Valley Tech and Governor School. And I certainly want to thank Augusta County School Board and the Augusta County staff for including us in this wonderful celebration of some amazing folks that without you, schools couldn't run. We're here tonight to recognize our outstanding staff member, and that is Miss Judy Sensabaugh, who's one of our custodians. And Miss Sensabaugh, affectionately known by our staff as Miss Judy, is, as our staff calls her, a gem. Whether she is tossing mulch in the hot July day or whether she's shoveling concrete snow in January, you never once hear her complain. She's humble, quiet, caring, always willing to help others, but she has a work ethic and a pride in what she does beyond all that's an example for all of us. We called her a gem. She's a shining star for all of us, not just other custodians, but even for me. If you can shovel concrete snow and not complain, I shouldn't say a whole lot. So we thank her for her hard work and all that she does and her dedication and all that she does for our school, our staff, and our students, and always going above and beyond. Thank you.
Shenandoah Valley Head Start.
I'm Christy Peary. I'm the director for Shenandoah Valley Head Start and Early Head Start, and I have the honor on behalf of Shenandoah Valley Head Start to recognize Heather Offenbacher as our support staff of the year. Heather is one of our instructional assistant floaters who serves our Head Start students at Dixon Educational Center. Heather consistently goes above and beyond to meet the diverse needs of all students. She shows up each day with a positive mindset and creates opportunities for students to demonstrate not only their strengths, but to also build their confidence and independence. Heather supports staff across multiple classrooms and easily adapts to the different environments and team dynamics. These are exceptional contributions considering this is her first year in this role. It is my honor and privilege to present this award to Heather Offenbacher.
Stuart Straft Elementary.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm Tina Bowersox. I'm the principal at Draft Elementary School, and I get to introduce to you Miss Angela Berry. So Miss Berry is also a special ed instructional aide, but she works specifically in the classroom for exceptional learners. And for everyone who knows about staffing in an exceptional learner's classroom, I'm going to give you a huge, important fact about Miss Berry. She's been doing this for 14 years. 14 years, yes. So Angela builds great relationships with her students. All of her students go to her often first. I think sometimes the teachers she works with become the secondary. And the students have great relationships with her. She also has relationships with the families. Miss Berry has often even been asked to babysit. Because some of these students, it's hard to find a babysitter for them. And so the parents will ask her to babysit, and she has done that on many occasions. So she does that as well. She supports all things SDS in addition to her super hard work in the classroom. She volunteers to do car duty. She's one of the outside people for car duty, so rain, shine, sun, all the things. She also volunteers to be part of the new Junior Farmers Club that our school has. She is a volunteer with our Girls on the Run program, out there running with them at the end of the day after a long day of work. She is part of Project Adam that Nurse Carol Cash mentioned earlier. She's one of the members of our Project Adam team. And if that's not all enough, she has recently started driving a county car to bring students to and from school as well. So doing all the things and staying positive and energetic, and it's just such a pleasure to work with Miss Angela Berry.
Stuart Straff Middle School.
I'm Scott Music, the principal of Stuart Straff Middle School. It is my pleasure to introduce Samantha King. She's an instructional aide for us. Our plan this evening, if I go quickly, she'll agree not to pass out. Okay, so Samantha is, we had a number of nominations. She was nominated 3 times more than anyone else. I think our staff recognizes her outstanding contribution. She is unendingly patient, builds relationships, is efficient, kind, and has a sense of who each kid is and how to address them individually in terms of how she serves them and cares for them. And so that ability, that intuitive skill is what sets her apart. She's exceptional in what she does. She builds relationships with the kids and with our staff. And so she serves all of them, and she does it graciously, kindly, and she is certainly behind the scenes. So I appreciate you coming and standing before us today. Samantha does a marvelous job, and we are honored to have her as part of our staff and as our support staff member of the year. Thank you, Samantha.
Stuart Straff High School.
Good evening, I'm Danielle Shields, one of the assistant principals at Stuart Straff High School, and it's my pleasure tonight to recognize Mr. John Brooks. I believe he wanted to be here, but chances are pretty high he ended up covering transportation. Oh, come on up, Mr. Brooks. Mr. Brooks is one of my favorite people to see in the afternoons. He always has a good smile for me. For 15 years, Mr. Brooks has been a reliable heart of transportation at Stuart Straff High School. He's our go-to driver for everything from athletic trips to overnight trips, any last-minute call-outs. To put it into perspective, aside from his daily route, he's completed an astounding 316 extra trips in just the last 4 years. His perfect record of availability is matched only by his absolute commitment to student safety. We thank Mr. Brooks for being a driver for our school that we can always count on, no matter the destination or the notice. We are grateful to have him as part of our team. Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Stump Elementary.
Good evening. I'm Becky Gilkerson. I am the principal at Stump Elementary. And first, I just wanted to say thank you to the school board, Dr. Troxel and Ms. Brake, for letting us have the opportunity to recognize so many dedicated employees of Augusta County Schools. It's an honor for me to be able to share a few details with you about our support staff person of the year, Mrs. Megan Doyle. Ms. Doyle unfortunately could not be here this evening. She had planned to, but as soon as she got home, she had a sick kid, and mom duties come first. So let me tell you a little bit more about Megan. She runs our front office with grace, strength, and unwavering dedication. Throughout a time of transition and adjustment within the office, she has continued to give her very best every single day. Her hard work, positive attitude, and constant smile never go unnoticed. Megan keeps the office running smoothly. She approaches every challenge with kindness, professionalism, and compassion for those around her. No matter how difficult the day may be, she continues to greet everyone with respect and is always willing to lend a helping hand when someone needs support. Her resilience, positivity, and commitment to others make her truly deserving of this recognition. We are grateful for all she does and proud to celebrate her accomplishments and the impact she has on everyone around her. Congratulations to Megan Doyle, Stump Support Staff of the Year.
Stewart Middle School.
Good evening. I'm Fonda Morris, the principal at Stewart Middle School, and thanks to the school board, Dr. Troxel and Ms. Brake for this opportunity, and congratulations to all the support staff members of the year. Many of you I've worked with at other locations, and everything they've said has been accurate, especially you, Brandy. I am very pleased to introduce Miss Amy Michael. I feel like the first time I was here at a school, not here, but in Verona at a school board meeting, talking about Mrs. Michael. I should have recorded it because this is now the third time that I have talked about Mrs. Michael. She won Support Staff Member of the Year when I was principal at Clymore Elementary. She was a RISE nominee for the county, and this year she was selected by the staff as the Support Staff Member for this middle school. I could say a whole lot of the things that many of you all have also said. She is just always there she's served the Fort Defiance community in a number of roles before she became an employee, but she's officially served as an employee for 11 years and supported our students. The elementary students were very happy when she came to the middle school. She does our weapons detector duty in the morning, so she's out there with all of the buses. And no offense, Mr. Van Devender, but I think she knows about all the bus changes and double runs and all of the things better than any of us know. We just have to get on the radio and say, Mrs. Michael, and she's like, no, we still have one more to come in. She also stays late in the afternoons and helps supervise all the students that are on the late buses. So she truly is like the first one there and one of the last ones to leave because she's just that dedicated. And I honestly don't know how we would function without you, Mrs. Michael. Congratulations, well deserved.
Wilson Elementary.
I'm Dawn Young, principal at Wilson Elementary, and it is quite an honor to introduce to you Crystal Richardson. Crystal joined us this year and started out supporting students and teachers in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. Well, that soon expanded to where she was needed to help out in EL, all the things. It's kind of a demonstration of how valuable she is to our staff in that in only 1 year, staff recognized her as that support staff of the year. Crystal does it all. She's there early in the morning, receiving car riders. And, sometimes those littles coming in, they're, not real happy to separate from mom, but they'll go right to Crystal, and she's able to get them into the building safely. And then in the afternoons, she's the one who stays late to supervise students for those second run buses. So she's just such an asset to our school, and we all love her. Thank you, Crystal, for all you do.
Wilson Middle School.
Good evening. Thank you. I'm Sharon Hilbert, the principal at Wilson Middle School, and I have the pleasure of recognizing Miss Yvonne Jones. Miss Jones, or Miss Yvonne, as she is fondly called, couldn't be here this evening. She may tell you that I wouldn't let her have the evening off, but don't believe her. That's not true. Miss Yvonne is a force to reckon with on our custodial team. She always shows up with a smile. Her sense of sarcasm, movie references, quick wit, and even dance moves make her a great person to be around. Students and staff appreciate Miss Yvonne and her tireless effort to take care of all of us at Wilson Middle School. So even though she couldn't be here, congrats to Miss Yvonne.
And last but certainly not least, Wilson Memorial High School.
Hi, everyone. I'm Crystal Hanger, and I have the privilege of serving as the principal at Wilson High School. And beside of me is Sergeant Jeremy Tabler. I know his name. So I don't know if you remember this, but when he first came and we met, I gave him a list of expectations that I had as the lead of the school. And I even told him, I said, this person is the person that I feel like is the best SRO that I've ever worked with. And I have to tell you, you have surpassed those expectations for me. You can see him in the hallways all the time. He is talking to students. He sits down at tables with kids during lunches and just chats with them. He doesn't spend much time there because he tries to make sure that he can get to every single table during his lunch duty. He always communicates with me and tells me when he's not going to be in the building because he supervises other schools. And our school is so much safer because of him. And I just want to summarize a few things that our staff said about him. He goes out of his way to connect with students through daily positive interactions. He's present daily throughout our campus, and he's easily accessible to both students and staff. He quickly established trust with students and staff in a role where that could be challenging. He participates in student activities. You can peek in the gym and you can see him playing basketball and probably beating our young students. And you can see him doing volleyball with students as well. He is an amazing human, and I am so blessed to have you with us at the high school.
How about just one more round of applause for all of our recipients? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brake. You know, one thing that I learned when I was a teacher way back in the dark ages, the support staff, they're the ones that make things happen. So we really appreciate all that you do. You don't get near the recognition you deserve, but we certainly appreciate it. And I know we as a board, we know our schools don't operate without you all. So thanks a lot to the ones of you that are here, to the ones of you that are out in the schools. We certainly do appreciate everything that you do. Let's give them another round of applause. And Dr. Troxel, I guess you're next.
Yes, sir. Thank you. During the April 9th school board meeting, the school board unanimously voted to name the Augusta County Sheriff's Office, the Community, the Community Foundation, and Lingo Networks to the 2026 Virginia School Boards Association Business Honor Roll, a program that provides school divisions across the Commonwealth an opportunity to express gratitude to local businesses and organizations that make meaningful contributions to public education. We are honored this evening to present a plaque to each of our honorees for the distinct role they play in the success of Augusta County Public Schools. First, the Augusta County Sheriff's Office, which has provided Augusta County schools with resource officers, emergency response, consultation, and collaboration for the safety of our students and staff. Congratulations and thank you. Next, the Community Foundation, which has facilitated funding for student scholarships, teacher recognition through the Dauburn Education Awards, and opportunities for students to practice philanthropic leadership skills. Come on down. Congratulations. And finally, to Lingo Networks, which has promoted and sponsored our A-plus Educators of the Month from the very beginning by helping recognize 3 teachers every month for their excellence in education inside and outside of the classroom. Congratulations. Again, we extend our heartfelt thanks to each of you for your dedication to our schools and the children of our community. Please join me in one final round of applause for the Augusta County Sheriff's Office, the Community Foundation, and Lingo Networks.
Thank you, Dr. Troxell. This is certainly an exciting evening to recognize all of the people, not only here, but earlier this evening in our whole Village Awards. I think it just goes to show that our educational system takes a community effort. And we certainly appreciate everything that you all do. We couldn't get it done without you. That being said, congratulations to all of you. You know, I think this is probably the most important part of our meeting tonight. So we will give you the opportunity, if you all would like to go home and celebrate or go somewhere and eat supper and celebrate, you're more than welcome to do that. And we'll give you an opportunity to do that with one more round of applause. There you go.
I knew the one on this end. Yeah. I was sitting here called Lingo.
Thank you, guys. You have anything? Okay. Okay, good enough.
Started it?
Oh, he started the business?
I think so.
Okay.
Hello. It's been a year and a half.
Okay. Okay. Work. Okay, next on our agenda is the consent agenda. If you will notice, there are minutes from the regular board meeting and policy work session. Are there any other changes, Ms. Grove? Okay. Take a minute and look at that, and then we will need a motion to approve the consent agenda whenever you all are ready.
make a motion that we accept the consent agenda.
Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Consent agenda is approved. Mr. Grove, do we have anyone that is signed up for delegations? Okay.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today about a serious issue affecting students in Augusta County Public Schools, bullying, and how it is addressed when it occurs. Every student deserves a safe learning environment where they are protected, respected, and able to focus on their education without fear of harassment or humiliation. Unfortunately, that is not the reality for every child, including my own. In my family's experience, we have seen firsthand how deeply bullying can impact students and how inconsistent responses can sometimes add to the harm instead of resolving it. Bullying in Augusta County schools needs to be taken seriously and handled fairly. A few years ago, my son was 12 and in 7th grade. After experiencing ongoing bullying, he made a Snapchat post using the school's name to express his frustration. I have never seen anything suggesting he intended to harm anyone at school. Despite this, he was expelled for half a school year and placed in juvenile detention for 8 days. Fast forward to this year. My daughter became the target of a sexually explicit TikTok created by another student. The TikTok used the school's name and logo while publicly humiliating her online. The consequences for that student were 1 day of in-school suspension, a no-contact order, and 2 classes, one on respect and one on internet safety. In addition to that incident, my daughter was also subjected to a separate situation involving manipulation by another student that left her so emotionally overwhelmed and distressed that she wanted to harm herself. As a parent, there are no words for what it is like to see your child reach that point because of how they were being treated at school. When speaking with the Commonwealth Attorney about the TikTok case, I was told, and I quote, "Kids this age, we do not want to put them through the court system to deter them from coming back." So my question is simple. Why was that same consideration not applied to my son? One child struggling after being bullied faced expulsion and detention. Another student publicly humiliated and sexualized a young girl online received significantly lighter consequences. Parents deserve consistency. Students deserve equal protection. And most importantly, families deserve accountability they can understand and trust. That means clear, consistent consequences that are applied fairly, regardless of who is involved. It means a disciplinary system that prioritizes protection and prevention, not confusion, not contradiction, and not outcomes that leave families questioning whether their child would be treated the same way in another situation. I'm asking this board to take a serious look at how these decisions are made and how discipline is applied in bullying cases across the division. There must be consistency, transparency, and a clear standard that ensures students who are harmed are protected and that responses are not so uneven that they undermine trust in the system itself. We need more than policies on paper. We need accountability in practice. My hope is that by addressing these gaps, we can move toward a school environment where all students, regardless of grade level, background, or circumstance, are treated with dignity, protected from harm, and supported with fairness and consistency when incidents occur. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Lee Ashley Harden, and I'm a former Augusta County parent and a community advocate. Let me give you some numbers before I give you my story. Black and brown students make up 18% of this school's division. 82% of the student body is white. And yet across Virginia, Black students are 3 times more likely to be suspended than their white peers. Research has found that in counties that are predominantly white, racial bias in discipline is even stronger. This board is sitting in one of those counties right now. Those are not my opinions. Those are facts documented by the Virginia Department of Education and peer-reviewed research published by the National Academy of Sciences. My son Timmy was 8 years old when a classmate called him a nigger. He told his teacher, no report, no phone call. I found out at 9 o'clock that night when my child broke down and told me what he had been carrying alone all day. I eventually pulled him out of this school system because I could. Not every family can do that. I am here today for the families that cannot leave. A friend's son was bullied so relentlessly he felt he had no choice but to defend himself. Her daughter was sexually bullied on TikTok. Mother pressed charges. The Commonwealth attorney decided they didn't want to put that student in the system. Where was that grace for her son? This is the pattern. The protection travels in one direction. And in this division, everyone in this room knows what direction that is. So I'm asking this board for one concrete commitment today, bias and anti-bias training, not one-time workshop, ongoing and mandatory for every staff member in this division, because the data is clear and the stories are real, and your inaction is documented. I became an advocate because of what happened in your schools. I'm sorry to tell you this is not the last time you will see me standing here. Our children are watching. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, correspondence. Dr. Troxell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have one item to share. On April 16th, the Virginia Department of Education announced that new members would be serving on 3 educational task forces for the purposes of expanding membership and leveraging expertise to strengthen instruction and assessment. I'm proud to tell you that 2 of our very own administrators have been appointed to serve on 2 of these task forces. On the Mathematics Advisory Task Force will be Mrs. Carol LaFawn. Mrs. LaFawn is currently the assistant principal at Riverheads Middle School. However, next year she will serve as our secondary science and math instructional supervisor. Ms. LaFawn has extensive teaching and administrative experiences that will serve the task force well. Her involvement will also provide valuable knowledge and insights for our division as the task force aims to support student growth and ensure access to not only high-quality instructional materials, but high-quality professional development and resources for all mathematics teachers. Serving on the Innovative Assessment Workgroup Task Force will be Ms. Wendy Chandler. As you know, Ms. Chandler is our Director of Secondary Instruction and our division's Director of Testing. She is known throughout the region and the state for her expertise and wide range of experiences leading our division's assessment program. She is an excellent choice to serve as part of the task force that will advise state leaders on a new assessment contract for the Virginia Department of Education. I'd like to personally congratulate Mrs. LaFawn and Ms. Chandler and thank them for their willingness to serve in this way.
Okay. Special memorial recognition. Dr. Troxell, that's you again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I bring before you this evening a special memorial request that will require your consideration and approval pursuant to School Board Regulation 6.25. The portion of the regulation relative to this request reads as follows. The school board may approve the placing of memorial pictures, markers, and plaques in schools and on school grounds. Such approval would be at the recommendation of the superintendent, and the actual placement and wording would be approved by the school board. All costs would be provided by the group initiating the memorial proposal. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and community of Fort Defiance High School, I respectfully request your approval of their request to reserve auditorium seat L32 for Mr. Raymond Allen Shull, in honor of his 46 years of service, dedication, and upholding tradition at Fort Defiance High School. Mr. Scholl's career at Fort Defiance marks the culmination of a professional calling defined by generosity, collaboration, and an unwavering commitment to the life of our school. He has a gift for building connections across departments and roles, fostering a sense of shared purpose that strengthens both students and faculty alike. Whether in his years as a devoted band director or later in his role as principal, Mr. Scholl consistently led with a hands-on spirit that brought people together and made meaningful work possible. He was never one to lead from a distance. Instead, he showed up reliably, thoughtfully, and with a readiness to listen, support, and pitch in whenever needed. Within the broader community, Mr. Scholl served as the secretary of the Virginia Band Directors Association, chaired and hosted numerous honors events, served as a guest lecturer for collegiate courses, and remains active as a professional musician within the Shenandoah Valley. Within the Fort community, Mr. Scholl led band programs comprising several hundreds of students across multiple ensembles. He earned a reputation for establishing exceptionally high levels of student participation. He devoted himself to mentoring students from diverse backgrounds, providing sustained guidance, musical instruction, and personal support that shaped their growth as musicians, and most notably as individuals. Colleagues knew they could count on him not only for their guidance, but for genuine partnership. His collaborative approach was rooted in care for the people he worked with, for the students he served, and for the continued growth of the school community. His legacy is one of quiet, steady leadership, of someone who made things better simply by being present, engaged, and willing to do the work alongside others. Mr. Scholl leaves behind a school that is stronger for his efforts and a community deeply grateful for his years of service. The request is to inscribe on the left armrest reserved for, on the right armrest, R. Allen Scholl. The plate on the back of the chair would read, reserved for R. Allen Scholl, Fort Defiance High School, 1981 through 2026.
Okay, we will need a motion to approve the request.
Mr. Chairman, I would consider it an honor to make the motion for the request. I've known Mr. Scholl for over 50 years, him and his family. We graduated from high school together.
Is there a second? Moved and properly second. I'll just make a comment or two. I had the privilege of teaching with Alan for a number of years while he was a band director and I was the ag teacher, and also had the privilege of working with him for many years as assistant principal and then as principal. And I think it is certainly fitting that he be recognized somehow by the music department for all the years that he put in. All of the time he spent with the marching band out in the parking lot before and after school. So I think it's certainly very fitting that he be recognized. Any other comments? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
School nutritious program, plan for breakfast and lunch. Mr. Basco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. Good afternoon, board. Mr. Martin and I were just over there sitting there talking. Mr. Scholl, we were born in 1980, so Mr. Scholl's been teaching about as long as we've been alive. So that says something there.
Be careful.
Wonderful career. Yeah, I probably shouldn't start that way.
I think he started in 81.
Okay, so I had 1 year there. I was alive before that happened. So.
Yeah.
This has always been one of my favorite days as an administrator, as we recognize Whole Village Award winners and our paraprofessionals of the year, those people who work behind the scenes to make so much happen. So I'm going to take a moment before I get into everything nutrition here just to recognize our nutrition staff. They had, on Friday, was National School Lunch Hero Day. As you can see up on the PowerPoint there, we have a little collage that we put together of most of our staff in all 19 of our schools, so we wanted to recognize them. Much like everyone else who was recognized tonight, they do a fantastic job behind the scenes. They are extraordinary people. The stories that I could share, we have one staff member right now whose husband's actually in the hospital, and she showed up to work today. So no matter, I told her family's first day there, but she said, I've got family there with him, and these are my kids, I need to be here. So I think our world would be a better place if we had more nutrition staff, Whole Village Award winners, and support staffs of the year like we had today in it. So big thank you to you all for recognizing them and allowing me to speak on our nutrition staff today. There are 4 main topics that I want to go over today with our nutrition staff. First off, just a background of school nutrition. I want to take a little bit of time to talk about what it takes to operate the school nutrition program, some of the challenges that are facing our school nutrition programs, not only in Augusta County, but across the state and across the nation, and then provide my recommendations as we move into the 2026-2027 school year. Just a real quick background of school education, of school nutrition. Back in 1946, President Truman started the lunch program. It's been running ever since. We're on 80 years now that has been going on. As you can see, a lot's changed over the 80-year history of the nutrition program. A couple things that stand out. In 1993, a professional credentialing program was started. In 1998, it was 1998 it was started. The creation of the Community Eligibility Provision, CEP, that's what we use for our free breakfast and lunches for our students, was actually started in 2014. It was expanded in 2022. And of course, who can forget in 2020 with the COVID pandemic when it hit, how all of our nutrition staffs come together, our bus drivers, our teachers, other staff members. We found ways to get food to the kids. And if I'm not mistaken, Augusta County that year actually won an award for the nutrition program for not just the amount of kids that they served, but the ways that we found to get it to the kids, whether it was putting food on the bus and taking it to their houses, parents picking it up. It was a great undertaking there, but something that I know I will always remember how we came together for that. So can I ever forget that? In 2015, we also had some professional standards for school nutrition take effect that we still use today. And if we, let's see. And as I was looking back through data, breakfast, we've been serving breakfast in Augusta County since the 1999-2000 school year, probably before that. That's the data that I have going back to. And then, of course, since 2023, we have been a division-wide CEP program, meaning all of our students have been provided free breakfast and free lunch across Augusta County. Many people may not know that our school nutrition programs are actually stand-alone programs, meaning that our funding comes from kids getting breakfast, kids purchasing lunch. We've been that way since we have started in Augusta County's nutrition program. This year, however, our board graciously came alongside us and agreed to take on 3 salaries of our nutrition staff to help cover the areas where we were declining as far as our finances, which I will show you here in a little bit what that looks like. Also within our school nutrition program, you have a accountability that takes place there. Our accountability, we are under a lot of umbrellas. We have a federal umbrella, we have a state umbrella, and then of course we have our local school division umbrella that we fall under. We are monitored at the state level using federal and state guidelines every 5 years for our breakfast and lunch programs, our after-school snack programs, which is CACFP, and also our summer feeding program, SFSP. So every 5 years, we have people from the state come in and they basically sit in a couple of our schools and watch from the time the day starts until it ends. So they are watching to make sure that we are doing everything correctly, that the food we are making is following all the standards set forth by the USDA. They are making sure that our areas are clean and sanitary. We have health inspections twice a year that take place to make sure, again, that we are following proper guidelines and providing a safe space for our kids to eat, safe space for our nutrition staff to make the meals that we are serving to the kids. There is a lot of accountability within a nutrition program that a lot of people may not be aware of. Of course, as I said, the National School Lunch Program and Breakfast Program are run through the USDA. So every time there is a new law, whether it's a federal law or a state law that comes down, it can impact our nutrition program. Some examples lately, we had the styrofoam ban. We have had new regulations that have been implemented starting next year where we have to reduce the amount of sugar intake and sodium intake in our foods. There's a certain amount of whole wheat that has to go into breads, grains that we serve each day. One of the first questions I get asked a lot when people ask what my job is do they still make those good rolls in Augusta County cafeteria? So I'm happy to say yes, we still make those good rolls. Those good rolls contain more whole wheat in them than maybe they did when you were in school, but we still do offer them. We do everything we can to try to keep the standard that's been set forth in Augusta County, our nutrition program, going forward. And also trying to work around the regulations that are set for us that we have to follow and is monitored. And of course, students we serve. We have roughly 10,000 students in Augusta County, 19 schools. We have also worked to find ways to provide breakfast to our Valley Vocational Technical Center students and our Governor School students each morning. Our Valley program that serves students in Augusta County and Waynesboro, there's on the Wilson Complex. We also provide breakfast and lunch to there. So we are always trying to find ways outside of even our schools to provide for our students. We run food to our students in Head Start here at the center each and every day. So if there is a need, we find a way to fill it. Another example of that is our summer feeding program, which will be starting up again here very shortly. So we've done a good job getting some of that publicity out, so we hope to be able to impact a lot of students with that. Some of the challenges that we're facing in our school nutrition: increased costs. You all have probably seen it at the grocery stores. Within that, we also have the challenge of every time there is new guidance that comes down to us from the federal or state level, we then have to turn around and try to purchase the food that's going to meet those requirements. So every time a new law is passed, the number of businesses who may have provided those foods in the past dwindle. So we have less and less ability to work with other companies to buy the food. We are actually a part of a co-op, the Blue Ridge Co-op, where we procure the bids together so that we're getting better prices on the foods that we are purchasing. So with that said, every time that something new does come down, it does affect our costs. So you have that. The styrofoam ban, as I mentioned earlier, we used to be able to get probably a week and a half worth of the styrofoam trays, probably 1 to 2 days worth of the biodegradable trays are about the same price. So we're using half of what we had used previously financially on such material. However, we're still spending about the same amount of money. When you look at the cost of our equipment, replacing parts in the equipment, that has gone up as well, as you all, I'm sure, are aware if you've had to have anything replaced in your own homes lately. Of course, federal and state funding have not increased with the increases in the cost of products. So, we had one small increase last year. I think it's the first time in 3 years, but it's not keeping up with the cost of everything else. So, we are bringing in less revenue each year than we're bringing in, less than we're taking out. Longer food service days. We have some schools we have workers there as early as 6 o'clock in the morning beginning to prepare breakfast for the students, and they're there till 2:15, 2:30, cleaning up afterwards because the last lunch may end at 1:30 or 1:45. So we end up having to hire a few extra staff members just so that we have enough people to be able to get through the lunch block. So that's another challenge facing our schools, and in staffing, like anything else, trying to find people who we can hire who are going to stay has been a challenge. We have the little bit of a struggle as far as, you know, competing with maybe some local divisions who offer VRS, which is a goal, which I'll talk about here in a minute, for our nutrition staff. That's really important that we get to. But keeping staff, I don't think anything's more important than keeping same staff in place for a period of time. That really makes a big difference and brings continuity in any program. And that is a struggle like a lot of businesses are facing right now. This little slide right here just shows you an idea going back to 2021 and 2022 what our revenue versus expenditure looks like. You can see in 21-22 we actually brought in more revenue than we spent. We were getting some extra COVID funds still at that time. That was about $1.5 million. We actually come out in the positive, which was great. The year before that as well, we had brought in some extra money. But as you notice, starting in 2022 through 25, we've lost anywhere from $1 million to about $1.5 million a year in our nutrition program. So any money that we had gained in those previous years, we have expended that. Last year when we ended the year about negative $115,000. Our summer feeding program was able to offset some of that, so we started a little bit positive going forward. While I'm pleased to say this year that we've narrowed that gap, we're projected to finish probably between $80,000 to $150,000 in the negative. I can also say that we've thrown about everything we can possibly throw at the CEP program to try to balance the budget. And our staffs have worked extremely hard to make that happen, but as you can see, we're still not going to quite be there. I know that with our summer feeding program again, we will start the year off on a positive number again, but it's making it very difficult for us to continue to add the things we need to in our program. Just a real quick recap of what CEP is, because a lot of people do not know. April 1st of every year, we have a report that we print from the state of Virginia, which gives us, each school, we have a CEP number. It gives us a number of students who would qualify for a free meal. Now the state, I believe, uses such benefits as SNAP, TANF, and some others to give us a number that we multiply by 1.6, and that gives us our CEP number. So for this sample school up here, the CEP number is 67%. So if you look at breakfast, if you had 100 kids eating breakfast in that school, we would get $2.46 for 67 of those students, and then we would get 40 cents for the other 33 students, which is about $178 we would make that for every 100 students. For lunch, same thing applies, $4.62 for every 67 students, and 44 cents for the other 33 students, for about $324 for every 100 in that school. Each school has its own CEP percentages. We have some. We do have one that's 100%. We have another one that's about 82%. Most of them fall in the 60 to 70 range, and we have some that are in the 50s. And we are actually, when a school qualifies for CEP or when we decide to use a CEP program, we are locked into a 4-year window that we can use data for to support our schools. And for a few of those schools, we have 1 year left on that, and then we will actually have to re-qualify again, which we will, but our CEP percentages would be significantly lower. Again, just a couple things about this. Some of what data shows us here in Augusta County with CEP. Our elementary schools have the highest CEP percentages, also have the highest participation rates. Our elementary schools are a little larger. We have a couple that are smaller schools, but between the amount of students, the participation rates, and the higher CEP percentages, most of them are able to balance a budget by the end of the school year. When you look at middle school, while they do a good job still of getting participation there, their CEP percentages are a little bit lower, but our middle schools, for the most part, are a little bit smaller than our elementary schools, which makes it more difficult for them to balance that budget. And as of right now, we have about 1 of our 5 middle schools that may have a chance to meet their budget at the end of the school year. And in our high schools, we have the lowest CEP percentages, lowest participation rates, just makes it very difficult for them to meet their budget each and every year. And again, CEP will continue to decrease after the 4-year cycle, meaning that guaranteed revenue will also continue to decrease. Real quick recap of our 5-year plan for nutrition. One is to, once again, help our nutrition program become a self-sufficient, self-sustaining business within Augusta County Public Schools, to where we can pull back those salaries that our school board has graciously picked up for us this school year. It's also important we invest in our human resources, and I've got a few goals up there. One is to move our accountant in our nutrition program onto the N9 scale to match what other accountants are in that area. VRS for our managers and assistant managers. The way VRS works now, 5% of their pay comes out each month, so I would want to make sure that we could also increase their day by half an hour to offset money that would be coming out of their pockets each month. Slide, please. And then VRS for our full-time contracted workers after that, once again increasing their hours by half an hour each day to offset money coming out of their pockets. Maintenance and replacement costs. We just had a giant mixer go down in this building. If you were in school there in the 1980s, you probably had rolls or mashed potatoes out of it. So it's lasted that long, which is amazing. But when those things go out now, you're looking at about $15,000 to $20,000 to replace one of them. And they can't find the parts to replace them anymore. So we're kind of stuck a little bit. And then, of course, enhanced overall food experience. As I said, as we are being asked to remove more and more out of our foods, it's really important we're finding ways to still make the food as tempting for the students as possible, as tasteful as possible. And we are doing a good job with that. It's changing each and every time we have our tasting, they are adding things to it. I want to talk real quick now about our proposed budgets that I have up here. So everything I just shared before is kind of the why. Where we are, why we're there right now, kind of leading into some proposed budgets for you all to look at. If you look at option 1, that would be to stay CEP division-wide, meaning all of our students in Augusta County would receive free breakfast and lunch again. And if you look at that, in order to balance the budget, we were not able to meet any of our school nutrition program goals. And I also had to reduce money from expenditures in every category. So as I said, trying to replace equipment, I had to cut our equipment, what we try to put out each year for that, in half. I had to try to reduce our staff pay numbers, our substitute pay numbers. Everything I could had to be brought down a little bit, other than things like insurance, which we cannot change. They're locked in. Option 2 would be to, as a division, stay CEP, free breakfast and lunch for all elementary school students, and then going back to charging at the secondary level, middle and high school students, $3 for lunch, $2 for breakfast. With that, as you can see, we still were not able to meet any of our school nutrition program goals, and I had to apply reductions in maintenance areas and in technology in order to try to balance that budget there. Option number 2, or option number 3 actually, would be CEP for elementary, so free again for breakfast and lunch for our elementary students, and $3.25 for lunch and $2 for breakfast. With this budget here, we would be able to balance it. I would be able to at least achieve one of the goals of moving our accountant onto the N9 pay scale. And the only reduction there, I'd reduce technology a little bit. Thankfully, Mike Howdyshell was able to find some other computers that we were able to use some. So the computers we purchased this year to replace, we still have some of them on standby. So I think we could withstand that for a year if that's all that was needed. Some of the reasons, recommendations why I believe that's the best option is that it continues to provide free meals to all pre-K through 5th grade students. These are some of the students who are less likely to be able to self-advocate for themselves. They are some of our youngest. Also, our elementary schools have shown that with their CEP percentages and the amount of students who are participating, we have a good chance of meeting the budget there. Also, it is a kind of a slow rollout, beginning the process of beginning to charge students, again, for breakfast and lunch. As I said, it's been at least 3 years for some of our kids. Others, it's probably been 5 or more. So there's a good chance there are some families who probably never had to pay for breakfast or lunch for their child. So it's going to be a learning process for them. It's going to be for us in our program again as well, because we have not had to accept money for lunches. Now, we certainly have it for our a la carte sales. There are opportunities where parents can put money on the parent portal. That'll be some information we need to communicate to families if that's the direction that we go in. But that is something, a slow rollout would be nice right there for that. Once again, we'd have to go back to collecting our free and reduced lunch forms from our parents like we used to. Any parents who complete that form, we would look over it and see if they qualify. And if I'm not mistaken, they actually have an online form now. So if this is the direction we go in, I would want to get this out as soon as possible to give our families the opportunity to get that filled out so we can start the year off as early as next year with them having the ability to receive that free reduced lunch. My other proposal within that is that any student who qualifies for a reduced meal, we would actually provide that free of charge. That way, all students who qualify for free or reduced breakfast and lunch would get a free meal. Again, this allows for the most flexibility. If we are serving a smaller percentage of students, since we could potentially be going back to charging students again, we can adjust what how much money we are putting into our program from a food standpoint. I think we all kind of figured it was not a matter of if we would eventually go back to charging students again, it was a matter of when. I think the data that I showed today as far as our expenditures versus revenue over the last 5 years kind of shows that we have gone above and beyond as a program, as a school division to try to provide this for our families. But it is getting very, very difficult to sustain and very difficult if we are sustaining it. We do not have the extra funding to be able to meet any of our other goals, which are sorely needed. And again, as I said, it allows for a tiered, slow approach in case in the future we have other schools who need to go back to paying again. Our 5-year goal plan, as I showed you, it allows us to meet one of those goals. I believe it will allow us to meet the goals on that 5-year plan if we adopt this plan. And last but certainly not least, having a little bit of a built-up safety net. It is actually recommended that nutrition programs have about 3 months worth of funding needed. So that in the event there's a shutdown or something else that we are not getting reimbursed, we've got that money in reserve that we can pay salaries, we can purchase food. If equipment goes down, we have the funds to do that. And right now, we're kind of operating month by month to make ends meet. So I appreciate your time this afternoon. I appreciate being able to talk about this nutrition program, and certainly take time now to try to answer any questions you all may have.
Any questions for Mr. Basca?
I do have one question, Mr. Basca. Thank you for your time and for all this. So in the option 3 plan, will gluten-free and other food allergy-related offerings be the same cost?
Yes, sir.
325 and 2?
Yes, great question. Yes, if with option 3, we would do like we're doing right now. We would not charge extra for students who may have food allergies, or if we need to purchase some gluten-free food items, it would still stay the same price.
Any other questions?
I just have a comment. I like the concept. We kind of knew this was going to be coming someday. And I kind of like the idea of leaving our pre-K and 5th grade where we're still able to provide with them through the CEP or because that's probably going to catch up eventually too. But at least this way, it gives the parents some breathing time. The older kids, the middle school, the high school, are pretty easily to function on their own. If, at least in my family, they were able to fix their lunches and stuff like that, eat breakfast before they went to school. Of course, that was in the days when we were used to doing this. But the little ones, it's a lot of work for the parents to have to get done in the morning. So I think if we give them that relief, and so I feel like it's a workable program. I mean, I think we have much choice at this point.
We will need a motion to approve this tonight, is that correct? Or
If you would like, you can consider, and we can come back and add it to your agenda for June if you would like. It's whatever the will of the board is.
One thing I think it would help, though, is if we do something tonight, we can prep parents before the end of the school year.
I agree, and
I mean, the sooner we do it, the better, so that people are anticipating it. You know, summer goes quick.
You know, we saw this at our work session. I think we all realize that it's not a matter of if, but when. And I agree with Mr. Ward. You know, the sooner we can let parents know where we're headed for next year, the better. But that's up to the board. It's whatever you all want to do.
What exactly motion would need to be made to accept this budget?
I guess to approve option 3.
Okay.
Option 3.
Well, then I make a motion that we approve option 3 that Mr. Baskett just presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve option 3. Any further discussion?
Actually,
it's actually 3.
Oh, it is 3 because
It is 3. It says 2 there, but
the one that
in
says
the
2,
yellow.
but it's 3.
I'm gonna use that as my first year again one more time. I got a few more weeks left. I can use that one. So.
There you go. The one that's in the yellow.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Actually, that was kind of a motion. Yes, sir.
Well, and I think somebody seconded that.
Oh,
Yes,
somebody
it was
already
second.
seconded? I didn't hear that.
Second.
Thanks.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of option 3, or the one in the yellow, to be clear, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Basca.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, could we have like a 10-second stand-up break?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
These chairs aren't the same as others.
Yeah, they're not as
The only problem is if I stand up, I'm not sure, you know. Not bad, but they're not quite as comfortable.
The audience chairs are more comfortable, so.
Okay. Title grant approval, Dr. Melton.
Yes, sir. The instruction department is requesting permission from the board to complete and submit the following applications for the 26-27 school year. Title I, Part A, improving basic programs operated by local educational agencies. Title I, Part C, education of migratory children. Title II, Part A, preparing, training, and recruiting high-quality teachers and principals. Title III, Part A, language instruction for limited English proficient and immigrant students. And Title IV, Part A, student support and academic enrichment grants. Title I, Part A provides financial assistance through state educational agencies to school divisions and public schools with high numbers or percentages of disadvantaged children to help ensure that all children meet challenging state academic content and academic achievement standards. Augusta County students with the greatest instructional need shall receive supplementary instruction in language arts and reading from a Title I reading specialist. All 9 of our elementary schools will continue to be eligible for school-wide Title I funding. This year, the Title I grant provided approximately $1,567,106 in federal funding. Upon approval of the 26-27 application, next year's allocation will be determined. However, we anticipate level funding. Upon approval, Title I Part C funds are used by the partnering divisions in the Albemarle County Regional Migrant Education Program. None of these funds become part of our budget. Title II Part A provides federal funding to states and districts for activities that strengthen instructional leadership and teacher quality in all schools, especially those with a high proportion of children in poverty. The funds may also be used to reduce teacher-student ratios and provide high-quality professional development for teachers. Our school division received approximately $280,006 based on this year's allocation. Federal funds awarded under Title III support programs to improve the education of limited English proficient or LEP children and youths by helping them learn English and meet challenging state content and achievement standards. Our 26-27 grant funds will go to support professional development for English language and general education classroom teachers and materials and resources to support instruction for our LEP students. We expect to receive around $36,000 as our Title III allocation. Title IV Part A, Student Support and Academic Enrichment Grants, provide funds which the state allows the divisions to use for a variety of student support and enrichment options. Divisions are also able to roll these funds into the Title II program, which is what Augusta County has opted to do over the past few years. This year's allocation was $108,614.44. On behalf of the Instruction Department, I am respectfully requesting approval from the board to complete and submit the applications for these 26-27 federal program funds. I'm also requesting the signatures of Dr. Troxel, Superintendent of Augusta County Schools, and Mr. Shiflett, the Chairman of the Augusta County School Board.
Okay, are there any questions for Dr. Melton? If not, we will need a motion to approve the applications for these funds. We can do that all as one motion, I would assume, rather than individual titles.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and properly second that we submit the applications for the funds listed by Dr. Melton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Allie Wright, Director of Special Education. I think you've probably heard special education a number of times this evening because many of our support staff members of the year were recognized for their work with students with disabilities as well as some of our Whole Village Award winners. So we have a fantastic staff of teachers, paraprofessionals, and volunteers who support our students with disabilities. We're very grateful for that. I'm here to present to you the Special Education Annual Plan. This was approved last evening by the Special Ed Advisory Council. I will summarize it for you. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I think you've got a copy of it. And then at the end, I'll ask for your approval. Under provisions of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act of 2004, it's implementing regulations and the regulations governing special education programs for children with disabilities. Local education agencies are required to submit an annual plan for providing special education and related services to children with disabilities. The first part of the plan shows a report on the implementation from 25-26. The plan was implemented in full. All policies and procedures were implemented to guarantee that we met regulations. Showed ongoing parent involvement through identification, evaluation, and placement of students with disabilities. We regularly seek to find and employ personnel to meet the needs of children with disabilities. The Special Ed Advisory Council met regularly through the year. We provided a variety of professional development opportunities for special ed and general ed teachers based on division needs. To the maximum extent appropriate, children with disabilities were educated in the least restrictive environment. We used the child find process and preschool screenings to refer and place children in the early childhood special ed program. And Augusta County Schools budgets proportionate set-aside funds to serve parentally placed students who are in homeschool and private school settings for primary disability categories as well as related services. Also, we provided an intensive schedule of training and support for new teachers. We have a large number of our new teachers who are returning this year, and we are very grateful for that. The next section talks about maintenance of effort. This maintenance of effort regulation requires school divisions to spend at least the same amount of local or local plus state dollars for the current school year on the delivery of special education and related services as were spent from the same source for the preceding fiscal year. You can see that the child count, which would be our number of students with disabilities from our infant toddler up through age 22 for this year, was 1,412. And there are some numbers there that show you amount spent per student with a disability from local and local plus state funds. The calculations there show 1,359 is what it was calculated based on, because some of our students are supported by Children's Services Act for additional funding. You can see that federal funding for special education funds some of those positions. We certainly have a lot more positions than that, but there are federal funding for K through 12 positions as well as one early childhood position. There's a proportionate set-aside amount to serve private school students. Finally, that takes us to the General Education Provision Act. We want to make sure that we address equity concerns and full participation of students with special needs in projects and activities. We want to make sure that we identify barriers and ways to break those down. Our commitment is to provide students with disabilities to equal access to enrollment and placement in educational programs that are available to all students, and there's a list of those students there. There are possible barriers to equitable access, such as access to facilities, accessibility to materials, equipment accessibility, access to related services, understanding for staff on inclusive practices, the least restrictive environment, teaching strategies, accommodations, and modifications. So we've committed to taking steps to remove those barriers for the 26-27 school year, ensuring physical accessibility for all of our facilities and programs for all students. We provide staff development so that we can teach students in the least restrictive environment to the maximum extent possible. We provide academic adjustments and modifications for curriculum and instruction, adapted equipment for students who need that. We've provided related services so that all students can access their education. We utilize paraprofessionals and other staff to help with inclusive practices, and we provide ongoing in-service training to general and special education teachers so that all students with disabilities are supported in all settings. So we thank you for your support of students with disabilities. Do you have questions for me about the annual plan?
Any questions from Ms. Wright? We will need to approve the plan. We'll need a motion to approve the special education plan.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second that we approve the special education plan. Any discussion? Not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, staff reports. Dr. Troxell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I begin, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Wright for her leadership in special education this year. You've done a fantastic job, and I just feel like you need to hear that publicly. So thank you. It is very exciting to hear that we are retaining our staff. So thank you for all of your efforts and your hard work. Thank you very much. Right, dates of interest. We'll start with this past week. Well, rather, we'll remind you that the entire month of May is National Speech Language Hearing Month, and we will celebrate our speech and language pathologists on the 18th. This week, we've celebrated our hardworking teachers with a lot of celebratory activities. If you've checked Facebook, you've probably seen some really fun things that our schools and school communities and our parent volunteers have done to appreciate our teachers. So I'm very, very thankful for them. Earlier, you were able to see and hear a lot of statistics about what our school nurses do day in and day out, so we also want to give a shout out to them. Yesterday was National School Nurse Appreciation Day. The next 2 weeks are rather busy. Starting this Saturday, we kick into our graduation season first. The Shenandoah Valley Governor's School senior ceremony will be at 10 a.m. at Stanton High School. And later in the evening at 7 at the JMU Atlantic Union Bank Center, Valley Career and Technical Center students will graduate. Next Wednesday is the joint ACEA ACPS retirement dinner. That's going to be at Eastview Farms at 6 o'clock. Next Friday evening, Riverheads High School will graduate at 6:30 p.m. at Riverheads. The next day, Saturday morning, Buffalo Gap High School will graduate at the school at 10. And then the following week, Monday the 18th, Fort Defiance will graduate at 7 at the JMU Atlantic Union Bank Center, followed by Stewart's Draft High School on Tuesday the 19th, and Wilson Memorial High School on Wednesday the 20th. Thursday the 21st is the last day of school. That is an early release day. And then the following day, Friday the 22nd, is a teacher work day. And then Memorial Day holiday on Monday, May 25th. We do have a few notable dates for you there in June. Our June Academy will start on June 1st. Our Summer Administrative Leadership Retreat will be held June 2nd and 3rd here at the center. Also on June 3rd, the Augusta County Courthouse ribbon cutting ceremony and open house, which you are all invited to. That will begin at 4 in the afternoon. We then have our regular school board meeting at 6:30 p.m., and then June 19th is a holiday for all employees. Your next handout is your last fine arts calendar, and that is the month of May. I'll also say at this time that Mr. Whitmire and I attended the Valley Regional Forum earlier in the week, and one of our middle school students did win in the middle school category, so we're going to invite her and the other students that we took artwork for to be recognized in June. Moving on, my next item is your summer school board meeting dates. Last month you asked me to include this as part of my staff report this evening. Currently your summer meetings are scheduled for Thursday, June 4th, Thursday, July 2nd, and Thursday, August 6th. We do need, of course, to meet June 4th and August 6th for various beginning of year and end of year agenda items, but I do want to call your attention to the July 2nd meeting. While we may not have many pressing agenda items, we may need to approve personnel recommendations. However, Mr. Chairman, staff, and I will follow your direction with respect to that meeting.
That's on the 2nd. That's pretty close to the 4th. Everybody's probably going to be out of town. What if we moved that a week to the 9th? Does that work, or should we move it 2 weeks? You had indicated there was probably going to be some personnel things that we need to do. Either that or the personnel approvals we could do by email. Whatever the board, we have done personnel approvals in the past through email.
Mr. Chairman, is it possible to maybe plan that way so we don't interfere with a bunch of different vacations by email, and then if it gets to be much, then decide to go to July 9th? Just throwing that out there.
That's up to the board. Whatever you all would like to do. We have done the email in the past. Superintendent has the authority to hire and assign and reassign whatever. It's just basically we're, giving our good graces to it, I guess. What we would do, I guess, we get the resume information on a person and then Just ask for a straw poll or a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Whatever the board would like to do.
Is there a possibility we could do it as we have in past years and move it back 1 week and have a second one at the end of June? I think we did that the last couple of years. Instead of moving the meeting forward, we moved it back 1 week.
We've had one at the end of June. I don't know how that's going to affect vacation plans for staff, because a lot of times they get the administrative camp over with and then everybody heads out of town. That, we'd hate to bring you back from Palm Beach or something, for a school board meeting. But you're right, we have done that in the past.
I think we try email, and if it doesn't work, then we go July 9th.
Can I ask a question? Am I correct that new hires start July 1?
Administrative hires traditionally start July 1. Yes, ma'am.
So it would make sense to do it either in person or by email, but enough before July 1 so that we'd know what was happening, essentially.
Yeah. We could do it through email before the 1st of July. That work? I think that'll work. And if we run into a problem, we'll call you.
I think we ran into a snag a couple years ago on that.
We did.
Okay, and so we probably need to address it that last week of June, even if we do it whatever.
Well, we ran into a problem where there was some hiring, and because of the time frame needed, and it ran everything just right up. Hopefully we won't have that issue this year.
Let Shannon take care of it.
I know Ms. Brake hopes we don't have that issue this year.
Okay.
So I guess it's the consensus of the board then that we will go ahead and do it by email before July 1. That work? Mm-hmm. I see heads nodding. Okay. All right, good.
And then we would ratify later, like in August.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we would ratify it later, but, we can go ahead and give approval earlier.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and you've got one more thing.
My final item is the annual authorization of those individuals in my office who may need to sign documents for the Virginia Department of Education in my absence. This authorization would cover July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. These individuals include Dr. Miranda Ball, Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Sarah Melton, Assistant Superintendent for Instruction, Mrs. Shannon Brake, Executive Director of Personnel, Mr. Robert Lunger, Executive Director of Communication and Compliance, and Ms. Melissa Meyerhofer, Executive Director of Finance. Mr. Chairman, this document will need our respective signatures as well as Ms. Grove's. Therefore, I respectfully request the board's approval.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and second that we approve the authorization of signature in the absence of the superintendent. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 7-0. And we'll move on to Ms. Brake for personnel action.
Good evening. In your blue folder, you will find the personnel action page for tonight's meeting. I am respectfully asking for your approval of personnel actions numbered 1 through 20. As always, if you would like to exclude any action by number, you may do so, and we may discuss that. I apologize. Instead of 1 through 20, it should be 1 through 21. And if you would like to exclude any of those actions by number, you can do so, and I can discuss that further or answer any questions you may have in closed session.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve personnel action?
I move we approve the personnel actions, numbers 1 through 21.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve personnel actions numbers 1 through 21. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 7-0.
Next, I am going to share with you some more wonderful support staff members. We have been recognizing a support staff member of the month from each level at our schools. And for May, I have 3 additional support staff members to share with you. Again, they are sponsored by Carter Myers Automotive, or CMA. First, from Castle Elementary School is Sherry Dameron, and she is a custodian. Sherry is the kind of person who makes the whole building brighter just by being there. She shows up ready to work, ready to help, and ready to tackle whatever the day throws at her. She does it with a smile and a we'll figure it out attitude. She has become someone that students trust, someone who encourages them, and someone they can depend on. She doesn't limit her love to the building. She is a pillar in the school community. She has earned their respect and adoration and built strong relationships with them. And you can tell just how much she enjoys being part of the Castle community. From Wilson Middle School, we have Israel Izzy Johnson, who serves as an instructional aide and a bus driver. Izzy Johnson wears many hats at Wilson Middle School. He is an instructional aide, a bus driver, a coach, a mentor to students, and even steps in as a custodian when extra help is needed over the summer. No matter what he is doing, he does it with a positive energy and a willingness to help. Izzy greets students by name, and while this might sound simple, it's incredibly powerful. Students know that they matter to him, and they see him as someone who's calm, encouraging, and genuinely invested in their success, whether it's on the court, in the classroom, or just getting through a tough day. He is the kind of person that every school needs. He is reliable, kind, and always ready to support students and staff. From our high school, not Buffalo Gap High School, but Fort Defiance High School, is Neely Kokonowitz, who is a school nurse, and she was here earlier this evening, but she has gone for the night. Nurse Neely has been the driving force behind getting the entire Fort Defiance campus designated as Project Adam Heart Safe Schools, meaning that all 3 schools are now equipped with multiple AED units, and they have trained response teams ready to act in the event of a cardiac emergency. Through her leadership, students and staff have an acute awareness of what these devices are and why they matter. But Nurse Neely didn't stop there. She has also identified and shared other places in the community that also have AEDs, so that those who are trained are aware and can respond outside of school if there is ever a need. Nurse Neely's commitment to the safety and well-being of students in the community is extraordinary. Her deep caring and support is appreciated, and she serves in a very meaningful way. Next on my list, if that's okay, I can keep going? Okay. I would like to request the approval of the 4 10-hour workdays for the summer of 2026, and this is for 12-month employees. If it's approved, the option would be voluntary and would have the following parameters. The work schedule would be in effect Monday, June 1st through Friday, July 10th, 2026. Work hours would be from 7 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. Employees would take a half hour for lunch. Buildings would still be open 5 days a week from 8 a.m. until 4:30 unless there have been other arrangements that have been pre-approved. And once an employee opts for the 10-hour, 4-day-a-week schedule, they would not be able to revert back. The day off will be taken on the same day of the week each week. And employees who choose to work the 4 10-hour days will submit leave in 10-hour increments for a full day or 5-hour increments for a half day. And there are exceptions, 1 week in June when offices are closed on June 19th. All employees would work a 5-day work week. And also in July, the week of Independence Day or the 4th of July, our offices would be closed on Friday, July 3rd, and all employees would work Monday through Thursday. And I apologize, I misspoke. The week of June 15th through the 19th, all employees would work 4 days since we are closed on Friday. Certainly appreciate your consideration of this. The schedule has provided flexibility and increased accessibility to school personnel for the public during our summer months. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? We have done this for the past several years. I think it's worked out very well. Again, it is a voluntary thing. We will need a motion to approve that.
Can I ask one question? At what point, if they want to revert back, can they revert back to the 5-day, or is it a permanent
They
switch?
could not, yes, once they make the decision to do
then
that,
they-
once they've started.
So they stay on it permanently?
For the parameters of the dates that June 1st through July 10th,
Gotcha.
yes.
And then, but the following one, if they wanted to choose to go back?
Right, no, once that timeline has started, then, and if they've decided that, then they would need to.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And I have one question for you as well, Mrs. Brake. So it certainly offers flexibility. The extra day off should be taken on the same day of the week each week. Has there been any thought or consideration to allowing a little bit of flexibility since summer schedules are sometimes unpredictable?
I don't know that I have given it any other consideration. I certainly have had staff members when I was principal of a building, and there didn't seem to be the need for that. But if that was requested, perhaps we could consider that.
I can share that this has become a tradition for some staffs, and they have to work it out with their supervisor to make sure that whatever day they are taking off, there's still other folks in the office. So everyone can't take Monday or Friday off. So, and then, there are some exceptions where if some emergency occurs, the department supervisor will call me and we'll work through something. But all of this has to be worked out through the supervisor to start with.
Other questions? We will need a motion to approve the request for the 10-hour days.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and second that we grant the request for the 4 10-hour days for 12-month employees. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 7-0. And retirement celebration.
Yes, one more. Just want to share a brief update on the upcoming retirement dinner. We look forward to recognizing and celebrating 50 Augusta County Public School retirees. Certainly hope that you can join us on Wednesday, May 13th at 6 o'clock at Eastview Farms in Waynesboro. And this celebration is possible through collaboration and partnership with the ACEA, or the Augusta County Education Association. And that's all for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Ball.
Good evening. If I may first take just a moment to recognize our group of school resource officers. There was quite a showing from that group this evening. Many were recognized by the awards that were offered. So obviously there's a positive impact on our schools by their presence. But I also just wanted to recognize the fact that so many more of them came to support their colleagues. So they're an important part of our school division. I have the privilege of working closely with them and wanted to recognize that. Moving on to the agenda, when we were together on April 21st for the school board work session to review our recommendations for policy revisions and additions, we told you that we would check in again at this particular meeting. So we do have two sections of the policy with staff recommended additions or just updates. So that will be to section 8. Dr. Melton will come explain that, and Dr. Troxel will have an update related to section 2 as well.
So Dr. Melton and I are going to review our respective proposals. The first is a one-pager from me. This accompanies the proposed changes to School Board Policy Regulation 2.8 regarding public participation in meetings. It essentially mirrors the revised proposed revision, So if you approve the revisions to that regulation, then we would just restate them on this sheet for our school board meeting procedures. There are a few minor edits on this sheet for readability, and there's a clarification about, later on the page, about presenting handouts to the school board through the clerk. So that accompanies my previous revisions with policy and regulation 2.8. What you don't have from me this evening, and you will soon have, is revision to the policy and regulation 2.11 to include specific language about remote participation policy. So I will be getting that to you after legal counsel and I take a look at that. So you'll have that in plenty of time to review before you take action at your June 4th meeting. I can answer any questions before Dr. Melton goes over her addition. Okay.
When I presented in the work session, I had stated that there was going to be a section, and this is 8.250, and that some of the language needed to be added in regards to some of the accelerated coursework, specifically the Uniform Certificate of General Studies that has now been part of legislation that we need to update what we are doing in cooperation with Blue Ridge Community College. So I have added that language in terms of the definition of what is the Uniform Certificate of General Studies and how that is achieved, especially in all 5 of our high schools now having a pathway. So that language has now been included and updated, as well as more clearly defining the accelerated coursework that's available in middle school. And again, this is in response to legislation that we are required to add accelerated math courseworks, courses which will be math 6-7 in the 6th grade, 7-8 in the 7th grade, and then the opportunity to take algebra. Part of the legislation does ask for those revisions in our policies to also inform parents that students scoring in a certain quartile, the upper quartile on their SOL scores, will be auto-enrolled into those courses. Parents have the option to opt out of them if they wish, but otherwise their student would be auto-enrolled. So we have added that language there, as well as the updated language of availability for world language in middle school. So those pieces I had said in our April session, I needed to finish completing that update based on some recent legislation, so those have now been completed.
Can I ask you a question? Because I've had parents ask me about the math. So I don't know what that means. Math 6/7, I don't know what that means.
So the state is offering now, this is actually something that we did as a county several years ago. We actually initiated a lot of this work, and then the state said to stop, and now they're putting it back. So it's bringing back a condensed format of the content from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math. So when a student is scoring in the upper quartile on the 5th grade SOL, they'll be auto-enrolled into a condensed course that's 6-7. So what it does is it covers pretty much the majority or all of the content of 6th grade math, as well as foundational and substantial content from the 7th grade math. And at the end of the year, the students take the 6th grade math SOL. Then students would also have the opportunity in 7th grade to complete the essential knowledge and content standards from 7th grade, as well as covering the 8th grade math standards. At the end of that year, they would take the 8th grade math SOL in the idea that that would better prepare them for taking algebra as an 8th grade student. It's condensing down the 3 years of math content into 2 years at an enriched and accelerated pace, and allowing them to take algebra. But each year, those students are actually assessed. So if you have a student that doesn't auto-enroll in 6th grade, they may score in the upper quartile as a 7th grader, they may be able to still take algebra. So it doesn't exclude students, but for students who are ready for that condensed math earlier on, it puts them in that pathway as early as possible.
Okay, so, so if you score, maybe the hour, but I'm trying to keep up. If you score at a high quartile in 5th grade, you can take a course basically combining a condensed version of 6th grade math and some of 7th grade, and you'll do a 6th grade SOL.
Correct.
In 7th grade, if you're still doing well, you'll do a 8th grade math?
Correct.
And at the end of that, you do 8th grade.
Correct.
But you don't do a 7th grade SOL.
Correct.
And so then in 8th grade, you would do?
You'd have the opportunity to take algebra, Algebra 1.
Okay, I got it.
Yes. Again, fortunately for us, we've done something very similar to this in the past, so our teachers are bringing back some of the things that we've already done. And our membership in CIP actually is working on that pacing of those condensed pathways, and so we have teachers who will be representative on that pacing work this summer, and we'll be able to prepare our teachers for that adjustment.
So the courses aren't created yet?
They are. It's really looking at how do you condense down some of those
Okay.
key concepts, and they've been working on that pacing.
Okay. And then by high quartile, would you be in the top 10%, or do you
It's
know
based
yet?
it's based on the cohort of kids that year across the state. So there is no cut score. It is truly the upper quartile of scores that year by that group of students across the state.
So every year, the state VDOE is going to tell you what quartile can do this?
Correct. That
Thank
actually
you.
started this year.
Okay, thank you. Got it.
Questions?
Again, we're not going to vote on this tonight, so it's something we'll have a chance to look at, and encourage board members, if you look at it and you have questions, call Dr. Melton. She'll answer it for you. Or give it a whirl, anyway.
So that's all that staff has to add at this time. Are there any questions for staff? Okay, and are there any school board members who would like to address any policies?
I had one thing that I had sent out that I'd like to ask the board to consider, and that is for, I don't have the policy number right in front of me, it's for the library policy, 8.530.1, is that right? Wow.
It's in here.
And so after our discussion last work session, I just spent some time looking through some of the definitions in the Code of Virginia. And one of the ones that I thought that would fit our policy would be to include from Virginia Code 18.2-390 under definitions in our criteria that we would not have any kind of resources in our library that are harmful to juveniles as it's defined in code. And so I have the copies that were printed. I would ask the chairman if it's okay to pass them down to the board. And this is just for consideration, and also for consideration for the administrative staff.
Also, can I comment on that same section? The last time at the board retreat, I proposed a addition to this policy that would cover us, would accomplish what we want to do in a better way. And if you recall, particularly for those who weren't here, I know that people were wondering why I would bring up this policy again, since we worked through a policy around what books are appropriate in our libraries in 2024. Well, the reason I brought it up is because I discovered our policy does not do what we thought it should do. I went to I did an online national program training school board members. Had a lot of attorneys who spoke, everything from special ed law to parliamentary procedure. And one attorney specifically said school boards that rely on state obscenity laws don't realize that those are not the appropriate, or that is not the appropriate approach for school boards. And later, I wasn't sure I understood, so I looked him up, found his number. He's in another state, but he graciously called me back and talked to me. And basically, the problem is that the obscenity law says that, and that's what we have in our policy, it's a criminal code, and it says essentially that if a school employee, a librarian, anybody, buys a material for the library that is obscene as defined, and here's the definition, and this is what we have in our policy, that it has a dominant theme or purpose of describing sexual conduct, it has to appeal to the prurient interests of juveniles, and the work taken as a whole has no literary or artistic or scientific value. What that law is saying is, if you meet those three criteria, and that's what we said in our policy, that if the person wrote the material, whether it's a book or whatever, if they wrote it with the intention of as a whole, with the intention of appealing to the prurient interests of kids, then it's a violation of criminal code. And therefore, that person, I don't know what happens to them, whether their charges are pressed against them, they're contributing to the delinquency of a minor, whatever. So basically, our standard is so low that it has to meet criminality in order for it to be put into effect. Any piece of literary work could be argued to have some kind of value. And I remembered in my youth, people would argue that they read Playboy magazine for the articles. And yet that magazine was clearly being produced for to appeal to the prurient interests of whoever could get a hold of it. And so the problem is with our policy is that we have books in our libraries that have graphic sex scenes in them that go on, in one case I've mentioned to you, goes on for 15 pages. But taken as a whole, that book most likely wasn't written for specifically the way Hustler magazine would be written. In other words, the author wasn't out to make the whole book about appealing to kids' prurient interest. In that case, the book that I'm referencing is 656 pages long. It has a disgusting graphic sex scene in it that goes on and on and on, and that makes up 2% of the book. But I would argue that book should not be in our libraries. And under our policy, we cannot remove that book if we go just by our policy. And we could maybe appeal to a principal to say, you really want this in your library? But it will not be because of board policy that it's removed, because our policy basically says if you criminally give juveniles literature to appeal to their prurient interest, and the whole work was written for that purpose, then we can remove the book. I know a number of the board members have said that they don't want sexually explicit books in our library. And I know that in general, in the public, when they've done polling, they don't want the books, and the parents don't want the books either. Rasmussen poll in 2022 found 70% of voters opposed sexually explicit books in the library. In North Carolina, one poll found 70% of those polled didn't want obscene books in the library. Another poll done in 24 by a group called Every Library Institute found 80% of parents thought we ought to have a content rating like PG-13 and R and so forth in our libraries. The rhetoric, which is everywhere around us, that's used by those who want sexually explicit books in the library is to call removing those books banning books. But that's an absurd weaponizing of language to achieve a purpose. The goal of the rhetoric is to link events like Mao's Cultural Revolution in China, where they destroyed any book that had anything to do with Chinese culture, or Nazi Germany that burned all sorts of books written by Jewish people, all kinds of books out in the streets. We're not comparing, the term banning books raises images of those extreme things, but that's not what the board needs to have a policy about. We just want to protect juveniles as much as we can from descriptions of sex acts in graphic detail and promoting casual sex among teenagers. Every book in the school library is a choice out of hundreds of thousands of books available. Somebody, a teacher, a librarian, etc., chose to purchase a particular book and not to purchase other books. The books that were not chosen were not banned. They were simply not chosen. Challenging someone's choice of a book that's in our libraries and suggesting that a book is not age appropriate is not banning anything. This is inflammatory rhetoric to discredit the person objecting as either ignorant or uneducated or unsophisticated. Interestingly, in 2022, there was a case in Missouri, CK versus Wentzville, R4 school district. The attorneys for the plaintiffs, in this case it was parents and 2 students, were arguing First Amendment violation because the school board had removed, I believe it was 8 books. The plaintiff's attorneys used the term banning books 35 times in the case. The judge in the case took issue with that. He said a school district does not ban a book when it's deemed not age appropriate. It simply decides not to continue possessing a book on their shelves. The judge supported the district, saying it's the district prerogative to determine what to include in the library and what to include in the curriculum. So what this policy that I'm proposing does is simply say we don't want sexually explicit books with sexually explicit passages in them. We already say this in our policy 8.510. It says, and this is actually state law also, instructional materials that are sexually explicit must be identified by the principal or other designee and listed on the school website before school begins. And that's the instructional materials law. We also have a prohibition around movies. We say no R-rated movies, no NC-17 movies, and PG-13 can be permitted with parental consent at the lower grades, and maybe even high school. Our library policy allows sexually explicit content that our network does not allow. and that our instructional materials at least ask parents well in advance if they want the books being used with their children. So we're not arguing to ban everything. Most of the pieces of, I don't know, frankly, of any classic literature that has explicit sex in it. Dr. Melton referenced Shakespeare. I majored in English. I'm almost sure I read everything Shakespeare wrote. I'm pretty sure there's sexual innuendo, but there is no explicit sexual descriptions. She mentioned the Bible. There is no explicit sexual conduct described in the Bible. And you know what I'm talking about. We're not talking about anything slightly suggestive. We're talking about a description of a sex act in great detail, like smutty novels that adults...
Pornographic.
It's pornographic. But the pieces as a whole, when you look at, like the book I'm referencing, that one passage, and by the way, there's more in there, I didn't calculate it, but the one passage is only 2% of the book. And yet, that's the book I mentioned to you that way back at the beginning of my school board term, I didn't understand why fantasy novels were so popular. So I got a book from a highly popular fantasy novelist. And I'm just reading along. And somewhere around, I don't know, it was page 150 or 200, there's this 15-page sex scene. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was blown away that would be A, in juvenile literature, and B, that it's on our high school shelves. And at that time, it was on 2 high school shelves. Other books by the same novelist are in other libraries in our county. So I'm not talking about innuendo. I'm talking about explicit, descriptions of explicit sexual activity. That's all I'm asking, and I don't think anybody in here wants kids to have that. The fact is, today's writers of juvenile literature are committed to pushing the envelope in sexual content and smutty language. And if you I can tell you some books to pick up and read, and I don't think you'll believe these are books that were written for kids, young adults, 12 to 18. But that's how they're labeled. We can't rely on the review journals because they celebrate the books with explicit sexual language. So a librarian could read a review and think, oh man, this is a great book. And if they didn't actually read the book or look for alternative reviews outside of the journals that we have listed, they'd never know how disgusting some of this is. So the proposal I gave you last month, or whenever we met, last month, was that we would clearly say we don't want anything in our libraries that has explicit descriptions of sexual activity. And this policy that I gave you, which I assume you still have, breaks it down by elementary, middle, and high school. And what it says for elementary is it's more stringent. We don't even want non-explicit references to sexual acts unless you're teaching kids to avoid molestation. We don't want books of people not wearing clothing, particularly when the private parts are, even if they're covered, if they're highly suggestive. Who would want to do that anyway if you've taught elementary kids? It would make the room kind of fairly disrupted. And then it's for middle school, it's the same as high school, except it says when you have visual depictions of nudity, the only time you can do that is when it's an anatomical diagram for science and health instruction, breastfeeding, or classical works of art. And then high school libraries changes that completely, and it just says We don't want explicit descriptions of sex acts. So I would like to make a motion that the policy that I recommended, I know I gave it to David at the, before the June meeting, I'm sorry, April meeting, but I know you got it at the work day. But I'd like to make a motion that we add this to our policy 8.530.3, and that we insert it between the section appropriate for recommended levels and accurate in terms of content. And it would fit right in there, defining clearly what we mean by age appropriate.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second? I do not hear a second, so the motion dies for lack of a second.
Kind of amazing that this board wants to be known as the group that approves of sexually explicit materials in our library.
Mr. Chairman, I had intended to second that. Is it something that I can do? I just didn't get to I was thinking.
Can I make a request? And do we currently have a policy? Do we currently have a procedure that addresses a child in middle school, elementary school, high school, bringing home a book that a parent looks at and says, this book does not belong in my child's school? Yeah. Do we have a process that it gets reviewed by a librarian, perhaps a principal, perhaps some sort of committee? Is there a process? Because I'm new on the board here again, and I remember things like this. This subject came up when I was last on the school board, and I'm wondering if, Dr. Griffin, do you know if there
is? We do have a policy, and a book can be challenged, and it goes through a procedure within the school. And if the complainant isn't happy, then it goes up to the superintendent, and she has a committee there. What I can't understand is why we have to wait until a child picks the book up. Parents don't know these books. They don't read what kids are reading very often. So how would a parent even know? And there actually have been a couple of cases where I've heard young juveniles say that they got onto the road to pornography because they had sexually explicit books in the high school library, and they got captivated by those, sought out pornography, and in one case, it was a young lady, and she had to have therapy to get out of the clutches of being addicted to porn. So I don't even understand why you would want a book with sexually explicit passages. And we're not talking mild stuff. We're talking the kind of stuff that you see in adult smutty novels.
Well, personally, I hope the book that you describe is not in any library.
Oh, absolutely. What's in our high school? That author's in 3 high schools.
Well,
And one high school has got the one that I had passages from.
my question is if there is a procedure to review a book, if one of my grandchildren brought me a book like that, I would take it right to Dr. Troxel. I wouldn't know what else to do.
There is a procedure. We have a practice. That's what we follow. I think that practice needs to be made part of our policy.
It is a policy. It's right here.
It's not, it needs to be. But our policy reflects directives from State Board of Education, from the Department of Education, and this is Governor Youngkin's Department of Education.
Yeah.
And it reflects that. We are in compliance with state law. We're in compliance with the Code of Virginia. And, are there books in our libraries that maybe shouldn't be? There very well could be. But if they are, we have a procedure for getting them out. We also have a program where parents can sign up that they are notified when their students check a book out. They're told that they're checking this book out. And it gives them the right to say, no, I don't want this kid to have this book. So we're relying on parental guidance in that respect. Anything that we do as far as policy has to be vetted through our attorneys to make sure we're in compliance with state law. And, we have that. We've been down this road before. We talked about it at the work session. And I think our librarians do a very good job at evaluating books. Now, are they going to miss some? They very well might. But they do a good job of evaluating them, and nobody wants books in our library that are not appropriate. And if they're there, they need to be removed, and I think we've got the policy already in place that will take care of it, that meets the state code, that meets the state standards, and it's been approved by our attorneys.
Do you understand that what we have in our policy simply is a repetition of the state code that says if we purchase something that was written particularly to present sexual conduct, to appeal to the prurient interests of kids, and this is the key, taken as a whole, does not have any literary merit. That's the criminal code. We put criminal code in our policy, and I thought it was good enough until I talked to this attorney, and I realized that is the low. In other words, you can have a book in our library as long as it doesn't put you in jail. That's how low our standard is. And parents want sexually explicit books with long passages describing sex in great detail out of our libraries. They don't want them there. The general public doesn't. The polls all show that. And I don't understand the hesitation. We're not talking about sexual innuendo. We're talking about explicit descriptions, just like we have on our internet filter, on our network filter. Just like we say in our instructional program, materials that are sexually explicit. We don't seem to have any trouble with using that term when it comes to the network or instructional materials, but we have a problem when we say, oh, in the library, it's okay if we have a few sexually explicit books, and if somebody catches them, oh, well, then we have to go through this long process. Instead of just taking a stance as a board and saying, and by the way, those books that are sexually explicit, have sexually explicit content, that was purchased by somebody in our district. So I don't know if we can blanket say, well, the librarians got great discretion and they know exactly what's age appropriate. Obviously, some mistakes have been made given some of the books that are in our library. And I don't really, this is not a bizarre thing. I think all of us don't want those books in our library, but for some reason, the board is hesitant to come right out and say it and not have kids picking up books and reading things that are developmentally inappropriate. So there's a motion on the floor and it's been seconded.
Yes, there is a motion on the floor, and the floor is still open for discussion.
Can I offer some comments as well, Mr. Chairman?
Pardon me?
Can I offer a comment as well, Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely.
Can I offer a comment as well? Yeah. Okay, so to follow up with Dr. Griffin and Dr. Alcatraz, I don't think any of us would want our kids and grandkids reading explicit material like that. And at the same time, I don't know if any of us have seen an example where our kids or grandkids bring a book home, and I have to assume if they did, we would take issue and be a little bit more vocal about it. Me personally, I'm seeing a lot more issues with phones and social media and internet access in general compared to books. But at the same time, as a parent, I would, of course, hope to preserve the innocence of our children. Anything we can do to help with that, of course, I would be in favor of. But I'd just like to reiterate, a lot of it is a little bit more digital now. The issues that I think we're seeing are much more prevalent via phone.
You know, I'm not an attorney. Dr. Griffin, you're not an attorney either. I'm going to rely on our attorney's advice and the policy that we have. I'm going to rely on the State Board of Education and their guidelines. I think we have very good policy in place. I think sometimes we need to enforce it more vigorously. We do have a process for books to be evaluated, and we have removed books. And none of us want inappropriate material in our libraries. And I think we have a system in place that will take care of that. Any other discussion?
I have a comment. I don't feel that policy is going to change, is going to fix that problem. I think what we need, and I do this personally because I was an English teacher, every year I go meet our librarians and talk to them. And, you know, and ask them, do you ever find things, because sometimes we've got rotation in our librarians, do you ever find things that are out of taste? And they said, yeah, once in a while, but usually it's easy to find because all I got to do is see which book gets checked out the most by the kids. And she said, because the word gets around, you know, and then they start passing around. And I said, well, then what can you do then? And she said, well, we can file a complaint that we think that was inappropriate for our library. So I think what we have to be aware of is, and the last thing, having had 2 foster children whose lives, one who's 35 years old, never been out of prison, their lives were ruined by sexual perversion as children, and the other one died in Afghanistan. And we'd always said when we start taking foster children that was one thing we didn't want, because we didn't want to have kids in our house with our 3 boys that have been sexually abused. And the first one we had within 3 weeks, I'm down at the social services office in Lexington saying, hey, you guys need to check this kid out. She's in problems. So I know the damage that gets done with that type of thing, and I'm a strong advocate against it. But I'm also a strong advocate that we have to be aware, and parents have to be aware, and grandparents have to be aware of what our kids read and what they're being exposed to. Now, most of it today, I see it changing in my grandkids' lives, most of it today is not reading. When my boys were growing up, they were reading books all the time. I go in and I said, "Don, what you got, man?" You know, I'd pick it up and read it. Dad was an English teacher. You know, he could check it out. And so anyway, I think that's of greater concern. We can write whatever we want in the policy, and something's going to slide through the cracks. That we're not going to make a foolproof policy. That's not going to happen. What we have to do is make sure that we have high standards and high morals for our people who work with us and who are teaching our kids and who are bringing things into the schools. So I just think that we're beating a dead horse on trying to create a policy that has no loopholes in it. And we could sit here for the rest of the night, though by that time I won't be able to walk out of here, so somebody will have to help me out. But anyway, we could do that, and we're not going to correct it. We're not going to correct it. I just think we're kind of beating a dead horse here. And like I said, I'm the chief advocate of, I don't want that crap in my house. I don't want that crap in our libraries. I don't want that crap in our kids' backpacks. Because it will bring no good end for the children that are exposed to it. But I think we can make all the policies we want. It's still going to be with us. We have to have a stronger approach. That's my feeling on it.
Any further discussion on the motion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion that we add Dr. Griffin's proposals to our policy signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. No.
No.
Noes have it. Motion is defeated. Okay. Dr. Melton, Lingo Networks and Teacher Appreciation Week.
In honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, we extend our deepest gratitude to the incredible teaching staff who dedicate their lives to shaping the future of Augusta County. They are the heart of our community, and their unwavering commitment to student success does not go unnoticed. Teachers don't just explain lessons, they inspire curiosity and a lifelong love of learning. Beyond being educators, they serve as role models, mentors, and champions for their students. Their ability to adapt and provide a sense of community and belonging, even in challenging times, is invaluable. We want to say thank you for their unwavering dedication, passion, and tireless efforts in nurturing the young minds of ACPS. They show up every day with heart and energy, turning challenges into opportunities for growth and inspiring confidence in every student they reach. Their impact reaches far beyond the walls of the classroom, and they plant the seeds of knowledge and kindness that will last a lifetime. So we want to certainly recognize our teachers during this week, being Teacher Appreciation Week. 1 week is certainly not enough to thank them for all that they do. And there have been lots of celebrations happening in all of our buildings across the division. Parents stepping in, community business stepping in, all to say thank you to our teaching staff, and rightfully so. They are an incredible group of people that work tirelessly every day for our students in Augusta County. We want to say thank you. Our Teachers of the Month specifically, we want to thank our Elementary Teacher of the Month is Ms. Kelly Cook. Kelly Cook has served as the 3rd grade team leader at Wilson Elementary for several years, guiding her team through periods of rebuilding and growth. She is a master at fostering inclusion, skillfully helping students develop behavior strategies that enable them to remain in the general education classroom. When asked what accommodations she recommends for students, she often finds it difficult to specify because those supports are seamlessly woven into her daily practice. To her, it's simply part of what good teaching looks like. Ms. Cook consistently sees the best in every child and every colleague. She has also mentored numerous high school and college students by regularly hosting practicum students and student teachers, leaving a lasting impact on future educators. We thank Ms. Cook for being a model of excellence for her students and future colleagues. Our Middle School Teacher of the Month is Mr. Andy Eckert. Mr. Eckert is the technology education teacher at Stewart's Draft Middle School. His background was in science, and he had successfully taught that content for many years before switching to the tech ed instructional classroom. He has proven to be a wonderful addition to the CTE program in the division. During his time as tech ed teacher, Mr. Eckert has expanded opportunities in his program by adding engineering and drone components. A few years ago, he and his students remade the sign for Stewart's Draft Middle School that you see every day near Augusta Farms Road. This school year, he won a grant to help purchase a drone arena for his lab space. Mr. Eckert doesn't just work wonders in the classroom, he's also proven to be an incredible TSA advisor, bringing a large group of students to state and national TSA conferences for several consecutive years. His students have been recognized with awards at these conferences, and some have even applied to become state officers. We appreciate all that Mr. Eckert does for our students. And our high school teacher of the month, Mr. Eric Walker, social studies teacher and department chair at Fort Defiance High School, is the high school teacher of the month. Mr. Walker fulfills many roles at FDHS, including classroom teacher, social studies department chair, academic team coach, among others. Originally, Mr. Walker joined the Fort Defiance High School staff as a long-term substitute in business, but soon moved to the social studies department. As the coach of the academic team, he has led FDHS to multiple awards and championships. He also was the driving force behind the school's History Bowl team, which has competed at the national level. He recently organized and hosted an academic team event for elementary students as well. As a classroom teacher, Mr. Walker pushes his students to be their best and challenges them to think critically. As the department chair, he advocates for his colleagues and students. At the division level, Mr. Walker has served on multiple committees and curriculum teams. And for these reasons and many more, Mr. Eric Walker is our high school teacher of the month. We recognize all of these teachers again in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, and we thank all of our teachers across the division for what they do.
All right, thank you. School board members, Mr. Lawson, we'll start with you.
Got a few things. Attended the Willie Wonka play at Stump Elementary this month, and it was amazing. I wondered how they were going to pull it off, and they had a lot of good technology that helped them. I want to thank Dr. Troxel and the staff for the work session that we had in April, and appreciate the effort that was put into that and to make that possible for us. Also attended the Teacher of the Year reveal. It's at Stewart Draft Elementary School. It was one of my former teachers, I think maybe the last one in the system, and getting old. But anyway, Kelly Hughes had a great impact on me as in the classes that I took with her, and so it was great to be part of that, and also the Teacher of the Year brunch. I did go out to Buffalo Gap High School for the Fine Arts Showcase and Jazz Concert and thoroughly enjoyed myself. They did a great job. And again, just for this year, I want to thank the administrative staff, Dr. Troxel and everyone, the teachers, faculty, and staff for a strong year and a good year for our students. And thank you all for your hard work. That's all I have.
Mr. Whitmer?
I want to echo Dr. Melton and thank our teachers and show appreciation for them and all they do during this National Teacher Appreciation. Been a lot of great events recently, and I wanted to say thank you to Dr. Saunders and Mr. Stevens for hosting me for tours of Clymore and Riverheads High School recently. And stuck around, or I went back and watched the Riverheads Wilson baseball and softball game. There's a nice little point near concessions where you can camp out and see both games. So that was nice, and just looking forward to graduation ceremonies coming up. Hope we have a strong finish to the semester.
Mr. Schwartzel?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Like a lot of us here, attended the Teacher of the Year brunch a couple, Fridays ago. And that was a great, relaxing, fun, enjoyable couple hours with a wonderful bunch of teachers in the whole room. Mr. Shiflett and I attended a Valley Tech meeting yesterday. A lot of good things going on there, a lot of things in the works. I did stop by there this evening and this morning and met with Mr. Jason Milton, which is the new carpentry teacher there. Mr. Bryant was really good, but he doesn't miss a beat. He had those kids, the house is rolling, and I think that auction is the 14th. So the bids are where they're pretty excited where the bids are now, and they know where they need to be to do some other things. So he's got a lot going on there. The last thing is one of the pre-K teachers at Wilson Elementary contacted me probably 2 months ago, and she said something about bringing the pre-K kids to the store for a field trip. And I said, how many pre-K kids are we talking about? And she said 45.
Oh my gosh.
That's not really, it's a little different than what I said, but I said, okay. I said, can we break them up in, well, first of all, I said, can we break them up in 3 groups of 15? And she said, sure. And I said, well, if it's a pretty day, can they walk? And this young, anyhow, they didn't walk. So anyhow, it took some scheduling because, you know, they were all certain days, and then anyhow, we got them there. And it was 3 groups of 15. I think there were some kids missing each group. But those kids are the neatest, they're polite, and it's just what the teachers have done. They were, you know, we took them to the store. My employees did a wonderful job dressing up in different things, and the one little guy says he sees the Mountain Dew. My dad drinks a lot of that, you know, and okay, but you shouldn't do that. But anyhow, and you know, so we go to different things, and we did give them each a free Slurpee, and we did give them a cookie, and then they had each group had a test. It was 3 questions. When we got to the bus, because I met them at the bus and brought them in and took them back out, and then the girls had put together like a little gift bag that had candy and pencils, and they got the questions. They did excellent, and I really enjoyed that. I think that, you know, my employees said, Tim, I think you had more fun than the kids did. But the neat thing was that a lot of them, I got a big poster, and then I got some cards, like I know a lot of us have got over the years, and they were just, they did them themselves, and they did the best they could, and I put them at home in a folder. I keep a lot of stuff in, but it was just a fun morning. I mean, the first group came at 9, and they were full of energy. Last group came at whatever it was, and they were still full of energy. But the teachers did a fabulous job, and I did enjoy it. So that's all I have.
Dr. Griffin?
I enjoyed the Teacher of the Year brunch. That was really wonderful to see our teachers being honored, and I enjoyed some of the introductions of the new principals. Right this minute, I can't even remember which ones, but I went to more than one of those to meet. I remember Mrs. Diggs at Stewart Middle, maybe? And of course, earlier I met the new principal at Buffalo Gap. So it's been fun to get to know the new faces.
Mr. Ward?
Yeah, some of you may have noticed I've been on a limited schedule for the last 6-8 weeks. Had some medical problems that put me in the hospital twice, but I've always taken my opportunity to go and visit our schools and talk to our principals. And I had a good conversation with our middle school principal the other day. It was on Tuesday, and it was Taco Tuesday for the teachers. And he and I sat down and talked in his office, and I'm just quite impressed with the caliber of people that we have and what they're doing and what their ambitions and dreams are. And we talked about that. This is just his 2nd year being the principal, and you know, he's got things that concern him, and one of those is just the rising lack of attendance rates, not necessarily within our district, but what's going on in the country. The numbers are just getting excessive, you know, 25, 30, 40% absences. You know, they got kids that miss that much of school. And, yeah, that's burning on his heart. He's thinking, I don't want that to happen to us. You know, I want our kids in Augusta County. And I think that's good. That's looking not at a problem you're facing, but at a problem that is culturally going on in our country. And that's, you know, those are the kind of leaderships we've got in our schools, and I'm proud of them and all. And so also he told me that I had a standing invitation back to the 8th grade graduation again this year, and he said it's ongoing, so just go ahead and put it in your calendar every year. And so also I've met with Matt Stevens. I'll be doing the graduation names this year at Riverheads again for about the 37th year, I think. I don't know. Seems like it's been a long time. But anyway, life has been good.
Dr. Ochiltree?
I too went to the Teacher of the Year brunch. I really look forward to that because you familiarize yourself with good teachers that may eventually become principals. You learn names, you learn where they're teaching, how long they've been teaching, what they're teaching. I enjoy talking to them. It's just a great gathering. I'll echo what everybody else has said. I'm thankful for all the teachers during a Teacher Appreciation Week and all the rest of the year. The nurses that stand up here earlier tonight, they're all top-notch. They're the cream of the crop. I know several of them. I don't think Carol would hire anybody that wasn't cream of the crop. I have visited Buffalo Gap High School, the middle school, and Churchville to visit with principals that are retiring again or moving on laterally or whatever. I lost 3 of them, but just wanted to touch base with them as they move on. I was at Buffalo Gap High School this past Tuesday night watching baseball, soccer, and a softball game, and just checking out the new softball field. The fields look very well maintained. The softball field is coming along. I always feel like when I'm around a Fort Defiance Indians game and a Buffalo Gap Bison game, I feel like I'm in a Western movie, But the fields looked great. Lastly, last Tuesday, there was a group, I'm not sure what, at Fort Defiance High School had a blood drive. And so I went and donated blood. Mr. Chairman, I literally left blood at Fort Defiance High School. But
Been a few of us have done that.
yeah. So, but I still have plenty of black and gold left. So that's all I have.
Okay. I was not able to attend the Teacher of the Year luncheon. I was on a farm business trip in West Virginia, so I was gone for the weekend, and I missed that. I'm sorry that I missed that. I always enjoy that occasion. I attended the Valley Tech Board meeting along with Mr. Schwartzel, and there are going to be some exciting things going on over Valley Tech very shortly, and we'll certainly keep you abreast of that. One big event that we had this past week was our 4-H FFA Market Animal Show. And we have a class that we call a Sunshine class, which pairs up one of our students that has animals at the show along with some of our special kids. I don't know how many we had. Dr. Ball could probably tell me, but there was a bunch, a lot of kids. And, you know, it's good for both kids. It's good for the students. It's good for our special kids. Dr. Ball served as one of the judges this year, and we appreciate her doing that. This is our second year doing it. We have that class is sponsored from now to who knows when, but it really involves a lot of kids that don't have an opportunity to be involved with animals. They use lambs and goats for them, and it's a very good experience for everybody. Appreciate Dr. Troxel attending. She was there, I think, on Thursday that week. And just some rough figures that I have from the Market Animal Show. I think we had 130 some students that had animals entered. Now, there were a lot more kids than that there. There were a lot of helpers. There were some kids that were there to observe. And since it is a school-sponsored activity, our kids are exhibiting, get 2 days excused absence. And those kids exhibited 330 some animals. And they came in starting on Wednesday and they left on Saturday. And we had absolutely no problems with any kids at all. They had a good time. They got their job done. You know, when it was time for them to shut down at night, they went home. I know a lot of our instructors and our teachers put in a lot of time I called one teacher the other morning, probably shouldn't have, but it was shortly after 6 o'clock, and she was already there. She was washing pigs. And so a lot of long days. The sale total, the total dollar volume for the sale, the live auction, this does not include anything from the support auction. From the live auction, last I heard, it was $576,000. That's a lot of money going back to our young people. And a lot of that money goes toward furthering their education, whether it be in college or whether it be at technical centers or, wherever. It was a very busy week. I enjoyed it because I didn't do a whole lot. I have been promoted to observer status. I joke that when everything goes sideways, they send them to me. But anyway, very good, and appreciate all of our volunteers and ag teachers and extension agents and everybody that made it possible.
Mr. Shiflett?
Yes.
I have another side to that. I was at the Exceptional Learners Breakfast at Riverheads the day after those kids had been at the Market Animal Show, and they could not stop talking about it.
I think they had a good time.
They came and educated me about farming. They had learned so much, and they were already talking, a couple of them were already talking about going next year. They had told they were going back next year, and they were ready for it that day. They had just been there the day before. So anyway, I just wanted you to know those kids appreciated it too.
I think they had a good time. Is there a need for a closed session?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I move that the board convene a closed session for the following purposes: discussing and considering assignment, promotion, demotion, dismissal, salaries, and/or resignation of civic school board employees pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A7 for briefing by staff members pertaining to probable FOIA and contractual litigation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We convene in closed session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We will convene in closed session. Where we're going to convene?
We'll go back to the room that we've held our retreat in.
Okay.
Just down here.
We take all this with this, right?
And can we leave our material here and come back and get it?